15 years certainly haven't been because of Saints football. Losing seasons, frustration, and the low water mark in 1980 when the fans wore bags and the team wore a 1-15 record. The next year, though, Bum Phillips rode in from the west and began to put the S back in the Saints. Yeah, the S stands for the Snake. Kenny Stabler, the crafty 37-year-old quarterback, rejuvenated the offense. Some great drafts and acquisitions like exciting rookie Eugene Goodlow from the Canadian Football League have got New Orleans talking touchdowns. Touchdowns and defense in the form of Dennis Dirt Winston, the two-time Pittsburgh Super Bowl linebacker. He has taken charge of the Big D. 1,000 miles up the Mississippi in St. Louis, Cardinal football is in a similar situation. Under Hannafin, they made the playoffs for the first time since '75 because of young Neil Lomax. What a quarterback. And the receivers, Roy Jetstream Green and Pat Tilley. And how about number 32, Anderson? Gained more yards rushing the last 4 seasons than any football player in the NFC. And so today, 2 young teams with great potential. One of them has to prove it. The Saints and the Cardinals. Welcome to opening day. A tough opening day, and I mean that the Saints have only won twice in 17 seasons on opening day. I'm Tom Brookshire, and it's my pleasure to introduce Charlie Waters to you people, not as a football player, former number 41 for a dozen years with the Cowboys, but he's going to be an analyst, and of course, as you people know, I need an analyst. How about the New Orleans Saints? They're talking about title, but are they really that good yet, Charlie? Where are they coming from?
This city is excited. The team's excited, and I think it's justified because they got a strong, aggressive defensive team. But the key to their potential contendership is whether they can keep Kenny Stabler healthy.
Yeah, now Bum Phillips said this is the deepest team he's had, including those good division championship teams in Houston, right?
He says he's got better guys backing up than he had starting for Houston at some time.
All right, now Hannafin has Floyd Peters in there. They've got Bubba Baker for the defense. They know we know they can score points. Is it a good defense St. Louis is going to throw up against Stabler?
Well, they were out to get a pass rush this year, so they acquired Al Baker, Bubba Baker, and they're going to need a pass rush today because they got 2 rookies starting in the defensive backfield. One at the linebacker position and one at the cornerback. So they need the pass rush today against Stabler.
I'll tell you one thing, Rosie, be proud of you, Charlie. Good luck, buddy. We're going to have some fun. This should be a good game because both teams, as we mentioned coming in, are young. They have a lot of potential, as they say in this league, but, you know, if you don't prove it, pretty quickly it catches up with you. The Saints have won the toss. You can see them going back there to accept the kickoff. That's Wilson, Wayne Wilson, number 30, as Neil O'Donoghue was putting it up on the 35 for St. Louis. The Saints went 3-2 in preseason. There's a very underrated player you're looking at, Wayne Wilson. 3-2 for the Saints, including a win over the Jets here, the last preseason game. And of course, the Cardinals lost to Green Bay on their final game, but Anderson looked good. Duckett and Wilson waiting, and the 83 season is underway. Here's Neil O'Donoghue's kick. That's going to be Duckett at the 7-yard line. Oh, good coverage by St. Louis. Out to the 16. And here comes that New Orleans Saint team, and they're talking about putting the S back in. They're not kidding. I have never seen Snake Stabler in such good condition physically. Here's Stabler, George Rogers at 219, which is down. Wayne Wilson, 220, a good underrated fullback. Lindsey Scott, the number 1 from Georgia, and Jeff Groth, a guy that Stabler likes a lot. The Ferry, Edelman, Hill, Oubre, Stan Brock, an All-Pro, and Hobie Brenner's the tight end. Here's our first offensive play. Stabler to Rogers, not much. We'll set that defense a couple of yards as Curtis Greer makes a good play. And that's part of the lineup you're going to see right now. And this bunch can put a rush on you, and they stunt a lot. Bubba Baker, obtained from Detroit. David Galloway, Elo Grooms, a former Saint who's come home to haunt the guys, I guess. And Curtis Greer, who just made that last tackle. Charlie Baker, Dave Aarons, and Bob Harris, a safety man that's making that conversion. Max Smith, Nelson, and Perrin. Perrin will call the defensive plays. 2nd down and 8. The draw play, misdirection.
Busy with Kenny in the locker room, Kenny Stabler, before the game. He says, we're not going to do anything special against him in the first couple of series. We're just going to do what we do good, run the draws, get the ball off in a hurry instead of letting that pass rush get to him.
I would imagine that he's got such a quick drop when he does pass. He would like to be, though, not 3rd and 8. Stabler usually likes to be 3rd and 3 or 4, doesn't he? There the numbers on one of the great players to play this game. Here he is, his first pass play. The rush is coming. The rush gets to him. I believe it was Bubba Baker. Stabler and Wilson back in there as Elo Grooms got pretty close to the quarterback, and Stabler is limping. Stabler is limping, coming off. Somebody was diving about his ankles. Wow.
That's really strange. Then just in the locker room no more than 15 minutes ago, he said, I'm not going to let him get to me in the first couple series. I'm going to get the ball away in a hurry. There's a stunt coming in from the outside. Grooms, 78, catches him in the knee, and that looks bad, Tom.
Boy, of all the first pass play, and he had an injury-free preseason, picked apart a good Jet team, was not sacked, I think, but one time, the Saints quarterbacks, and not Kenny Stabler. He doesn't have a big history of knee problems, does he?
I saw a line on his leg the other day, about a 6-inch scar down there, but he said he feels comfortable with it. That it was his left leg that he showed me. That looked like a right leg that he got hit there.
Good way to look at it. And of course, he is 37 years of age. Knows when to throw the ball away, but that time he just couldn't find the receiver because the rush came. Erksleben, and of course Stump Mitchell, a very dangerous run back man, and the Cardinals should at least get the first advantage, being perhaps into the other team's territory. This guy is a real good little run back man. Erksleben, of course, is going to be kicking from about the 7-yard line before he puts the foot to it. It's a good punt. Not a great punt, but a good punt. Mitchell at the 44 on the run. Stump Mitchell is into New Orleans territory. The 47 fumbles the ball. Let's see. The Saints claim they have it. And the crowd is very loud here. You're going to get used to that.
I think they ruled him down, Tom.
The ground cannot cause a fumble. That's probably the rule, right?
Stump Mitchell holds an NFL record for the combined return yardage. He doesn't fair catch many. He turns it straight upfield. His knee was on the ground. It looked like it was a correct call.
And so the Cardinals have an advantage, if not on the scoreboard, at least on field position. We'll set the offense very quickly. Lomax is the quarterback. He was over 80% on the quarterback rating this preseason. He's about ready. That's Roy Green in motion. Quick throw out to Roy Green on the little screen. Tilley's getting a block for him. Green gets over the 40 to the 39. Here's the offensive team. Hannafin seems to think that this team is ready for a run. Got into the playoffs. There's Lomax. We mentioned him. Otis Anderson, ready for a big year, he claims. Wayne Morris, a great blocking fullback. Tilley and Roy Green is good a deep and under-receiving group as there is. Louis Sharp, Terry Steve is healthy. Deerdorf in his second year at center. Bostic and Randy Clark in for Tootie Robbins. Doug Marsh is your tight end. Second down and 3. The drive to, Anderson with a big hole. Gets inside the 25. O.J. Anderson. Big and fast. Johnny Poe made the stop. Let's set that New Orleans defense. Bruce Clark, Derlin Moore, and Jim Wilkes on that up front 3. Nairn, obtained from Denver. Dennis Winston, the former Steeler. Kovac, and Ricky Jackson, who can fly at outside linebacker. Dave Waymer, Rodney Lewis, Johnny Poe having to play safety, and Frank Watlick is a free safety. The secondary could be a problem for New Orleans. First and 10, St. Louis. At the 25. The drive play to Anderson behind Morris's block. Anderson wading through people, gets to the 20-yard line. Ricky Jackson making the tackle.
Anderson only needs 80 yards to reach the 5,000-yard mark in his short career.
Well, you told me that the thing about him is that he can take it to you at 222 and run over you rather than run away from you.
Tom, I don't know if you've been able to play 2 years in the NFL. You had to tackle guys like that. He was powerful, and he still is very powerful. But he also had the speed to get outside of you. Their lineup is about the same as last year. The biggest difference is that Mel Gray is not around anymore.
Okay, Schumann is in there, one of those receiving spots, Charlie Waters, along with Tilley. They got 3 outside wide receivers. And here comes one of them to this side. He is dangerous, Green. The toss back to Anderson. Anderson, cutting back. carries a tackler to the 13-yard line, and it was Derlin Moore from behind that made the tackle. Tell you, they're sort of opening up holes in that 34. Where are the linebackers going, Charlie? Looks like they're slow showing up.
They run a straight defense. St. Louis is one of the most vanilla, simple defensive teams that you'll see. And boy, the St. Louis offensive line, you'll see, watch on the left-hand side of your screen, 71 Bostic. He's the best player blocking on 52 Kovac. They love to run straight ahead. Those offensive linemen like to have those repetitive running plays.
Well, they're coming off the ball. Clark got a heck of a block at right tackle for St. Louis that time. Here's the fake toss. Lomax likes to roll. He may keep it. Now he's going for what is almost an interception. 49 had his hands on it. Rodney Lewis, I believe that was Watlett that got his hands on it. Weimer also had a shot. The main thing was, I guess if you're thinking defense, was that it was incomplete.
Well, they've had a lot of interesting plays in different formations on the first series. As Lomax rolls out, this would have been a boost for the Saints right here. You don't want to lose the chance to get an interception there. Now, Dave Weimer, 44, is playing with, I don't know if you can see it right there on your screen, but he's got a cast on his right arm. You think maybe he might have been able to tip that ball to himself if he didn't have that cast right there.
That would help me if I'd have had to do that. Here's the toss back to Anderson. 32 behind power block. He makes the dip. Pretty good defense this time. New Orleans struck him, and the ball's loose. Very aggressive defensive club that Bum Phillips has out there, and they're having to scratch right now. Jackson thinks he came up with it. Wilkes made the big hit. Well, they really turned the play in beautifully that time.
Well, Anderson got some good yards out of nothing. Didn't look like there was anything there. They've had a chance for 2 turnovers. Watch the way Anderson, 32 with the ball, dips inside and then gets back to the outside and gets a substantial gain.
Pretty good defense, forcing the attempt for O'Donoghue's field goal attempt. He's hit 6 of his last 7. Pretty close call. 6 of his. Oh, they're not going to go for that. They're going to go for shotgun instead on 3rd down. 3rd down and call it 8. I don't believe St. Louis could hear the call. And Deerdorf told us that's a very tough thing from the shotgun to hear the quarterback's call on that.
Now, that was interesting that Dan Deerdorf told us that that's one of the problems that he has at the center since he switched from tackle back to the center position last year. He said he can't hear the quarterback because the quarterback is calling his audibles to the right and to the left. He doesn't really direct his voice straight ahead.
Deerdorf, of course, the Giant. You just saw Jim Hannafin pacing the St. Louis sidelines. Lomax saying, well, we get the play over again, don't we? And I think Jorgensen is going to allow them to play that again since the crowd does become a factor here in New Orleans, which is sort of fun, though, in a way, isn't it? 2 tight ends in there, Doug Marsh and Greg LaFleur. Some displeasure on opening day. Drop back, big pressure. Lomax now dancing, throwing. Touchdown to Marsh. Doug Marsh has the first touchdown of the year for St. Louis. And the Saints secondary has given up their first TD. Good-looking scramble by Lomax.
His mobility, that's the beauty of the youth at the quarterback position. He buys a little time, moves to the outside, and throws the ball to Marsh coming across the field. The tight ends last year at St. Louis only combined for 11 catches. And this preseason, they've caught more balls in preseason than they did all last year, and they plan on getting the ball to him.
Yeah, Lomax only had 5 TDs all last year, and his interception ratio is down, and it looks like his TD ratio is going to be up.
Right on schedule, Lomax.
Benny Perrin holding. He's a new holder. Roger Worley's gone. O'Donoghue cracks it through, and the Cardinals do draw first blood. 47 yards in 7 plays. It only takes them 3:14. So it's St. Louis 7-zip early in New Orleans. The first 3rd down play, the pass play, the first one of the year for 16. It's a bruised knee, questionable. What do you see here, Charlie?
It doesn't look good. Kenny's in great shape, and he was really looking forward to this season, and said it's fun to him again.
Blocking pattern didn't look like they handled it very well.
I can't understand. It looked like they'd never even seen a stunt before.
All right, back to live action. O'Donoghue's kick is going to be taken by Duckett. Duckett at the 12-yard line. There is a flag back at the 12-yard line, and Duckett gets out to almost the 40. Wow, did he move in a hurry. young man in a real rush. O'Donohue had to make the tackle. Oh, it's going to be an illegal block by a member of that New Orleans return team. Well, this crowd's vocal here. Now, when you played Super Bowl 12 here, was the noise a big factor with your Cowboy team?
You bet. I like that the crowd gets involved, even when I was a visiting team.
Even when they booed you?
Oh, yeah, that was great, because I like to get them quiet later.
Well, that's because you won all the time. You can say that.
Not
Dick
all the
Jorgensen,
time.
most of the time. Dick Jorgensen's the ref.
Illegal block in the black by number 52. Receiving team declined. Illegal block in the back, 92. Receiving team accepted. First down.
It's a treat to beat your feet on the Mississippi mud. These people are very much involved with this team. And the 32-yard run back was negated. And now young Dave Wilson, the young man out of Illinois, the quarterback, who has had a good preseason too. This is his first snap. The drive play. Rogers brings them to their feet. Perrin had to make the tackle at safety. 218 pounds. That's a scary George Rogers now.
They said that the strike hurt him worse than any other player in their team last year because he got fat. He's back at 219, a little under 220, and boy, he's a slashing type runner. Heisman Trophy winner in 1980.
That's right. The Rookie of the Year led the league in rushing in 1981. A 10-yard sprint by George Rogers. Wilson calling. Oh, inside handoff. Wilson. Ooh, hit hard. Wayne Wilson weighs about 222, and now there's a little bit of a scramble for the ball as Elo Grooms is trying to take it home with him. The former Saint. Any bad feelings that way when you played somebody that used to be a Cowboy? Did you guys used to taunt the other person or anything?
I think the guy that got traded away had the bad feelings more than the teammates that were with him originally. Boy, he's played havoc early, hadn't he? 78.
He's scary. He's scary in a pair of Levi's, I'll tell you, walking through a lobby. Second down 9. 8:52 left in the first period. Ooh, almost movement. They did get the movement. Illegal movement by the flanker back for New Orleans. As George Rogers maybe bucked for 4 or 5.
A lot of mistakes early in this game, a lot of adversity that the Saints have to overcome. And not the type of situation you want for a team that's excited about starting off the season on a positive note.
Boy, Floyd Peters' defense is certainly different than the Cardinal defenses of the past few years, isn't it, Charlie?
Well, they really are. They needed to have that pass rush, and they got Al Baker.
Illegal motion, number 86. Offense, still second down.
That was Growth. He had lined up as a flanker on the outside and just leaned forward enough to flex it and get the yellow flag down. Mr. Stabler, make no mistake, a very classy gentleman. Don't believe all you've heard about this man. He's a great person. But he's out early with that injury, and he's got ice on it. Wilson's the quarterback. Second and 15. Here comes the stunt. Wilson being chased. Oh, good throw. Good throw and catch. Going to be short of the first down. Brenner, the tight end, makes a good catch, and I'll tell you, Wilson came over the top with it. Nice throw.
Let's see if we can see. We might get a shot of Kenny Stabler. Watch the guy over the center, Eli Grooms. He runs go way to the outside, come on the right-hand side of your screen, and he kind of stumbles and goes into Kenny. You can see that leg collapse, his right knee collapse.
And you know, Bubba Baker just ran over the top of Brock at 280 and ran over the top of him, almost making the defensive play himself. There he is, number 16. His first pass play, and he's on the bench. Wilson back. Protection this time. Good pass. Oh, caught by Growth. Growth with the ball. Growth being chased and hammered at the 35. A great catch by Jeff Growth. The 172-pounder out of Bowling Green. Lee Nelson finally caught him from behind. A 42-yarder.
Kenny Stabler calls him a Bolitnikoff with speed. He likes that. He's got great hands, he's got great moves, but he's got speed too. Watch 86 coming across the screen in motion, and he's got an option on this play to run across the field or spin back to the outside. Oh. And then he and the quarterback worked great on that, and it right on the money. And boy, he's got good speed. He has a chance to call away. That's an exciting play.
Benny Perrin had to gamble on knocking the ball away, and of course that is just a real moment of challenge there, and he missed it. 42-yard pass play. Wilson's 2 for 2. Here's the toss. Back to Rogers. Not much. Maybe a yard. Give that offensive line for New Orleans on that last pass play a good job of protecting, too. A little bit of rough stuff. And the flags are thrown. It's going to be unsportsmanlike. I think they might have pushed George around on the bottom of the pile. You guys were taught to do that at Dallas.
I'm sure that they were innocent, though. I bet.
Oh, of course.
Yes, every one of those defensive guys.
I never touched him.
It's interesting that they run 2 of their running plays.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 64 offense. Personal
64.
Foul, unnecessary roughness, 58 defense. Offset, second down.
LaFerry and offsetting penalty. Who was the other player called? I believe it was Aarons, wasn't it? A linebacker. Dick Jorgensen, Neil Garib, Bob McLaughlin, Dick McKenzie, Roy Clymer, Dave Hawk, Dick Dolak, as we seem to acquire more officials every year. That's 7. It's a lot. Wilson now on second down and 8. Unsportsmanlike on both clubs. Straight drop back. He's got good blocking this time. Oh, smooth throw. Catch. Oh, dropped by Wilson. Wide open. The ball weighed a ton. Charlie Baker was chasing, but Wayne Wilson might have had the first TD reception of the season.
Boy, I know he'd like to have this one back. He's isolated on the right-hand side of your screen, and he goes out of the picture. He'll come back in. Good job by Wilson of laying it up and looking off the safety. Now, he's a self-made player, old Wayne Wilson, underrated, and Archie Manning used to get out and throw to him every day, 30 and 40 minutes after practice, and that's how he learned how to catch. And maybe they need Archie back to throw the ball to himself.
Well, you know, that's a good throw. It might have been too easy. You know, sometimes you do get a little bit careless when it's right in there, huh? Third down and 9. Wilson has looked very sharp at quarterback. Let's see if the Cardinals come with a blitz. No, it's a twisting defense. They've got him blocked this time. Wilson, intercepted. What a catch. What an interception by Bob Harris, the young safety man that's making the transition to linebacker.
Boy, he's really a great player. And his first year in the league, he came in weighing 205. And Wilson makes a poor decision on this play. He tried to force this ball in here. He lays it up in a great play by Bob Harris, number 50. Holds on under adversity.
Shire with Charlie Waters, number 41 of the Cowboys, is now number 1 with CBS. 7-0 now. St. Louis drawing first blood when Lomax hit Marsh. And the Saints got down here and simply footed it away. The interception by young Harris. Reverse action by Marsh, and Lomax back to throw again. Lomax sets up beautifully. Good catch by Tilley. Tilley gets a first down with super hands. Little rascal can play, can't he?
Really can. He's got a good attitude too. Old Pat Tilley played against him for many years.
The Rams on top of the Giants, 3-0. It's at the Meadowlands. That's got to be a field goal unless the Rams are doing something more strange than they usually do. Atlanta 6-0 over Chicago in the first quarter. That's supposed to be a battle. Minnesota on top of Cleveland in the first period. And here with another first down, Neil Lomax, who has really gotten his act together. He sets up like he didn't a year ago. Here's the inside to Morris. Morris to the 43-yard line in a hurry. Kovacs making the tackle there. A couple of other scores as we get started on day number 1. Green Bay on top of Houston 7-3. Packers are supposed to be big up there for Bart Starr. Baltimore leading New England 3-0. That New England coach may get fired if he loses that one. The Raiders on top of Cincinnati 7-0 in the first period. And we've got a second down and 6, call it. 5.5 minutes left in the first period. Green's in motion. Oh, let's see if Derlin Moore jumped too fast. Deerdorf, number 72, just stayed there. Derlin might have jumped on that inflection, huh? Jorgensen's microphone has been temporarily cut. We'll try to get the official thing, but it's going to be, we'll bring up second and short. Pretty good situation to be calling plays. Do almost anything now, can't you, Charlie?
The typical
encroachment, number 74, defense, still second down.
The waist down. football terminology. You can throw the ball deep if you want to. You want to try something a little different. Although the Cardinals have tried.
I've never heard that before. From the waist down?
No.
What? I'm sorry.
The waist down. You can waist this down.
Oh, waist it down.
Yes.
Second down and short. That's Green in motion again. Late call again. This time outside dip by Anderson. Boy, good-looking tackle. Looks like he has the first down as Kovac makes another good tackle. Ricky Jackson helping. They get him running sort of parallel with the line of scrimmage. It's not too bad. It's when he gets turned upfield that it can hurt you.
That's the nature of that three-man front. You want that running back to string it out. The plus with the three-man front in the NFL is to pursue the linebackers, and that's just the way you want to play it. You want that outside linebacker to string the play out and the pursuit from the other linebackers to make the tackle. Of course, he made about 1 yard, was enough for the first.
You would know that. Jim Hannaford, of course, showed you great respect yesterday when we talked to a guy that I think is just a solid coach. It'd be fun to play for him, but he thought you were sort of the brains of that Dallas defense for years, and that was a supreme compliment, I think, Mr. Hodges. First down, dropped by Lomax. Oh, it's a screen pass, little shuttle. Morris is really hit and dropped for a loss by Dennis Winston. Dirt came to play.
Boy, what a great acquisition for the Saints to bring him in from Pittsburgh. He brings in a winning tradition. See if you can see how he sniffs this play out. 56 on the right-hand bottom of your screen. He sees the screen all the way. And he delivers a blow, boy. He likes to play, and he likes to win.
We saw him tackling Earl Campbell, and I haven't seen Brother Earl stopped in his tracks the way Dirt Winston did a week ago or so, you know. Some tackler and a great player. Only a fourth-round draft was needed to get him. I thought that was superb. Second down 10, Lomax. Now he's going to the flat. He's got Green with a slip screen and some blocking in front. Roy Green gets to the 46-yard line. And look out for him. He's supposed to have a 4.29 40-yard dash timing, which is about as fast as I've ever heard of it.
They're getting faster and faster and faster. You see, he represents the speed that Mel Gray had for so many years here at St. Louis.
As you would certainly be able to.
Let me attest to Mel Gray's speed.
Roy Green, of course, was the young man that ran back kicks and was playing defense and offense. Now he is simply a receiver and one of the great ones. Here is the shotgun on third and call it 5. Cardinals lead 7-0. Lomax being rushed, and they're going to call Elliott. They're going to call Elliott with the sack and maybe grabbing a face mask. It was sure inadvertent, though. A good pass rush by New Orleans. Oh, holding on St. Louis. Big pass rush that time by the Saints.
Number 71, offense, decline, fourth down.
Tony Elliott, the nose tackle. They have a four-man front here. You watch him. 99 just runs right by Joe Bostic, the best offensive lineman of the Cardinals. Tony Elliott feels like he ought to start. He plays like that. I can see why. He's going to be in there in the pass rush.
Quick look at a hand fight. Looked like Gastineau.
You know, that's what all these teams do in the NFL. They run that four-man front. The teams that run a three-man front on run situations, they'll run a four-man front in the pass situations to get more pressure on the quarterback.
And let them come, huh? Birdsong, a good punter to Jeff Groth. We can already attest to his speed. He got a 42-yard pass play earlier. Birdsong, a 43-yard punter. Uh-oh, bad snap. Now he gets it off. Oh, it's a tremendous kick. Almost hit the gondola into the end zone. Saints will have the ball on their own 20. To St. Louis, there is a flag down at the 47-yard line. Down too soon. And the Cardinals, well, let's see, the Saints may take that on the 20, wouldn't they? The Birdsong has got that hang time of 4.7 or 8. He might put it in the corner. You might start at your 3.
Interesting little decision here for them. Looks like they're going to punt it again.
Wouldn't you think you'd take the ball offensively on your 20?
Maybe they're looking for something to spark them.
Ineligible downfield, number 26, punting team, still fourth down.
Fourth and a bunch, so Birdsong now will simply take the driver back even more slowly and bang it. Schmidt was the young man out of Delaware, a rookie on this Cardinal team. That first game jitters, he probably went down on a false snap count of his own. Here's Groth back to catch. Good return man.
Let's watch this snap, Tom, and see if it bounces again.
I think the Saints may have come up with the right idea if there's no fumble. Groth at the 14, chased, lost a yard on the exchange, but it was worth a try as Charlie Waters maybe, as you said, maybe they just wanted to get something to go on. And a gamble was the way to do it. Stabler's on the bench, and the Cardinals are on the scoreboard. It's 7-0 in the first. He's been around a while on his first pass play this afternoon. Early in that first period, Snake Stabler was hit with a big rush by Elo Grooms, and he's got a bruised or strained right knee. He's got it iced, but the game is certainly not iced, and young Wilson, his backup, the Illini man, is out there right now, and he did move the team very well in his first series. Drive play to George Rogers. Rogers cuts back, picks up 4 or 5. Charlie Baker going helmet to helmet with him. Rogers now had an operation on his calf, where the sheath that holds your calf muscle used to irritate him, and he couldn't practice a lot.
Mary Decker-Tab had the same operation. It comes from, he gets a lot of cramps, and there's not enough room for his muscles to move, and they open up the sheath a little bit, and it gives room for the muscles to breathe. Makes sense.
And he made 5 yards. That it does. You have a healthy guy in practice. You have a great player in game. The toss back to George Rogers. Cut off pretty well. Rogers steams up for 3 or 4 more. He's one of those backs that looks like he's stopped for no gain, and you suddenly realize he's made some yardage. Harrison Aaron's in on that stop. How big is Bubba Baker, obtained from Detroit by St. Louis? How big is Bubba?
Bubba's, well, he's 6'7" or something. He's 6'6", 6'7". There's a shot of, we saw
there he is.
Bob Harris, and Bubba Baker's number 60 there. Bob Harris, what a great story on him. 205 pounds. Starting, they bring him in, decide they're going to play him at linebacker, and all of a sudden he gains 15 pounds. Ate 2 steaks at every dinner.
That'll do it every time, if you can afford it. 3 outside receivers now. Duckett's in there, and Rogers is out. Bubba Baker may have jumped. Got a free one. The quarterback gets a completion. Groth gets hit at the 35. They'll take the first down because that was a free one for the quarterback. I believe it was Bubba. This young man, of course, was taken out of Illinois. There was a lot of problems with the Big Ten Conference as to whether he had the eligibility left or not. And I saw where they settled and gave him some money the other day.
Offsides, number 60, defense, decline, first down.
Somebody said he got a $100,000 check as settlement because they actually sort of ruined his name, I guess.
He got to leave early, and then he also got money for leaving early.
It's a good way to leave college, with a $100,000 check.
And that's what you go to college for, is to figure out how to make money.
Oh, you're bad. George Rogers, the tailback in there again. First down call now on the 35. Wilson handoff. Rogers. He's got 5 yards again, and he was hit at the line of scrimmage. He pulled Curtis Greer with him. Remember, he came in this league right out of South Carolina and flat stormed through it for 1,674 yards. The greatest rookie rushing year, I guess, of all time, right?
Yeah, he's broken a lot of records, holds a lot of records in the NFL and in college records. Straight ahead attack, though. Very little pulling by the offensive line of the Saints.
We'll watch for that, Charlie. Second down and 5. Wilson, crossbuck. This is Wilson getting outside about 3 or 4 yards. Benny Perrin, the Alabama safety man, coming up. Also Cedric Mack, the young rookie.
Let's take a look at Bob Harris, 50, the guy that's right there in the middle of the screen, number 50. Watch the way he sniffs that play. He's got a great nose for the game. Good lateral movement. Turns the play in. Bob Harris.
Well, that Wilson's pretty deceptive, isn't he? He weighs about 222. Harris going to be a good player, isn't he? It's third and short.
Got those smarts.
Third and a short 2 yards. Let's see at the short yardage offense. Looks like he's short of the line. He had to get to the 45. Charlie Baker makes a good stop, and they ran at Bubba. I don't think they made it. You go for it? Not on your life, huh?
No way.
The last play of the first period. Wilson coming to the sidelines. Stabler is on the sidelines. It's 7-0 St. Louis. 7-0 right here in the Superdome. St. Louis leading. There's Bum Phillips in his 3rd year here, and one of the outstanding characters and football coaches in America. We're going to bring you up to date on where his valet buys those clothes in just a minute. 4th down and a long yard. First play of the 2nd period. Erxleben will be punting, and Stump Mitchell will be receiving. Oh, this is a tremendous kick. Erxleben has just airmailed one that may get caught at about the 3-yard line. It's spiked and knocked into the end zone. They're going to call it a touchback, and the Saints protest again. That was growth down there under the punt. Looked like Curtis Greer threw him in the end zone, or Elo Grooms or somebody. Well, you can't win them all. It's 7-0 early in the 2nd quarter. Russell Erxleben just had a 4.7 at seconds hang time on a punt that just barely got into the end zone. The Cardinals with the lead and also with the ball, 7-0. Neil Lomax is a very, very poised young quarterback right now. His set is very good, and he's got Anderson who he tosses back to on 1st down. There's a flag down on the play. Anderson gets rudely treated after about 2 yards and half undressed. Dolan Moore made the first tackle. Well, that's some gang tackling going on.
That's the pursuit that they're looking for with the 3-man front.
Got the secondary coming up very quickly, though. Lomax going to have to stretch him out, isn't he?
Anderson, they didn't do very well in preseason. Anderson didn't gain but about 20 yards in the first 3 games. In the 4th game, he gained over 100. So it feels like he's on schedule now.
Runs like he's on a skateboard, boy. For a big man, he can really change directions. Here's Jorgensen's call.
Illegal motion. Offense. The line was not set before the snap. Still 1st down.
The line has to be set. There's Bum Phillips.
Bum says you can build a team with 2 ways. One, you get good players, or you get the players that you have and you make them good. And that's what he's trying to do down here.
He's got it. That shirt looked like the wallpaper over at the hotel where we stayed. Quite a guy, though. A very refreshing man. Bum Phillips, and a great coach. 1st and 15. Lomax going for his turn-in man, Roy Green. Green picks up about 7 or, well, make it 10 yards. Waymer making the tackle. You got to be careful when a fella has the speed that Jetstream Green has, right?
He's got the potential to go deep on every play, and at the cornerback position, you're scared of that deep route, and you got to protect. Here he is running a stop route. A good pass, good timing on the part of Lomax right here. And I like that they didn't try to get it all back at once after that penalty. That's a substantial gain.
Good call. Charlie Waters, number 41 in your Dallas program for a dozen years. Good to have you up here, Charlie, and you're going to bring a lot of insight into pro football. 2nd down, and let's call it 3 yards to go. That's Roy Green in a hurry. Toss back to Anderson. Anderson breaks 1 tackle. Tries to get to the sticks, but it's going to be short of the 1st down. Some good gang tackling by the Saints defense. Dirt Winston and Kovac. And Derlin Moore. Look out, Derlin Moore is down.
11-year veteran.
So he got hit on that thigh guard, huh?
Well, he said he's not wouldn't have come back and played had it not had the excitement here in New Orleans.
Derlin Moore, the nose tackle for New Orleans, limped off, but he's getting treatment. Didn't look real serious. Tony Elliott in. And a pretty big play early. Here's the tackle that Kovac put on him.
Good lick by Kovac. Nice move by Anderson to fake out Dirt. This is a big play, Tom Berkshire. 3rd and 1.
St. Louis has had a hex over the Saints. They're 8-2 over the years against New Orleans. Here's Anderson. Good defensive play. Oh, what a scrambling defensive play by St. Louis. Great corner play. Kovac, Rodney Lewis. A lot of high fives. They deserve it. Good job.
I mentioned I thought it was to be a big play, mainly because New Orleans needs something to get some fire going under them. And it's something like this you can tell excites the fans and it might excite the team. And they're going to get good field position.
You know, they've only won 2 opening day games in 17 years here. What a victory would mean to them.
Good penetration right there by 29 Poe, taking
Making sure it cuts in early on that, huh?
And great pursuit.
Here's Otis Birdsong in his duel with Growth for New Orleans, back on his own 34. Here's Birdsong. Oh, another low snap. Oh, a tremendous punt by Otis Birdsong. Growth at the 23. At the 34-yard line. Good run back. Bowling Green. Best field position that the Saints have had. There is a flag down on the play, and again the debate. Carl Birdsong with a tremendous punt after the Cardinals failed to pick up on 3rd and a yard with O.J. Anderson. It's hard to believe he can't get a yard, but that was some good defensive play. This, of course, was an infraction after the play was accepted, and then it was called, and Bum Phillips, of course, does not like this a little bit.
Holding number 29, receiving team, while the ball was in the air. First down.
Rodney Lewis, I believe, while the ball was in the air, there was holding. I thought there was holding on every play. Oh, well, 12:19 left before halftime. It's 7-0. He has worn well. #1 draft out of Oklahoma, Derlin Moore. He's going to be all right, huh?
It's good to see him feeling good again. He's really excited about this year. He would not have played, I mentioned earlier, if they didn't have that excitement down here in New Orleans.
Bad field position for the 5th time. The Saints are back with that penalty as Wilson hands off to Rodgers. Rodgers, after being hit, then staggered outside and still picked up 4.5 yards out over the 15.
Bum was irritated about that penalty because he knows what that field position has done. So it's tough to get a ground game going when you got bad field position. They've started their drives on the 18-yard line, the 8-yard line, the 19-yard line, and now the 12-yard line.
That's big Carl Mock, the center with Houston for an eon or two, that's on the staff here, of course. And King Hill is the offensive coordinator for Bum Phillips, and they're trying to help their young quarterback. The Giants 6-3 over the Rams now. Wilson's handoff to Rodgers. Rodgers gets a good hold, breaks out for a first down. All you have to do is let him have a little crack. This man can do it. He turned sideways through the hole and picked it up. The safety man, Nelson, had to make the tackle.
He doesn't need much, just a little ray of light, and that guy can get through there.
A few more scores now. Day #1 of what's going to be one of the great seasons of all time. We're sure of that. Minnesota shutting out Cleveland. They're not even at halftime yet. Detroit in a baseball score over Tampa, 5-0, getting ready for halftime. Wilson ad-libbing, makes a completion, about a 9-yard pickup as Kenny Duckett climbed that invisible ladder. There's a flag on the play. Roughing the passer called by Jorgensen, but that doesn't take away from what Duckett did. He has to have a vertical leap of 40 inches.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 60, defense, first down.
Al Baker, number 60, got there as the ball was being released.
Out of college, they judge everybody on their 40-yard dash and how big they are and how strong they are. But one of the things they're doing now is judging their vertical leap. And here's a good example of how high that guy can get in the air.
What a reception. By the way, the one thing the quarterback did was run a little bit to his left. And, you know, then defensive linemen think it's free to go ahead and hit him. Pretty close call. Reverse, fake reverse. Rodgers breaks outside. Rodgers to the 30, to the 10. Rodgers is knocked out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Cedric Mack finally knocked this great runner out.
Well, if you establish Rodgers running to the outside, and you know he's gaining yards every time he gets the ball, that defensive team is going to read it quickly and try to get over and make the tackle. And let's watch where they start moving back once they see the reverse. Oh, it didn't hand it off. They're going back the other way. What an interesting play.
Rodgers now with 75 yards rushing, and we've got 10 minutes and 47 seconds before they go into the dressing rooms at half. George Rodgers on a tremendously effective fake of the reverse. Wilson, the misdirection to Wilson. Wilson inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Well, that was Gaijan.
You know, you can measure how fast they run the 40-yard dash, how high they can jump. But Aoki Gaijan, boy, he's got the heart the size of his headgear. And Bum Phillips likes that type of runner.
He's short enough, too, to where he comes out of that fullback spot low, and you're looking for Rodgers, and all of a sudden you have a problem. Little misdirection. Good offensive game plan now being put into effect by New Orleans. St. Louis leads, though, 7-0, don't forget. Second down, 5. Inside handoff. Wilson at the 10-yard line. He's upended. Wayne Wilson from Dave Wilson. Curtis Greer underneath there. Boy, I think the St. Louis team, though, is much more aggressive on defense. They're a different-looking Redbird bunch on defense, I think.
And they haven't been hurt by the pass. We mentioned earlier that they needed to get the pass rush, but their running defense with their new coordinator, Peters, the team that he's had before has led the conference several years in their rush defense, too. And what they need here is pass defense.
Third down and 4. Wilson is the quarterback. Stabler was hurt on his first pass play in the first quarter. Inside handoff. Wilson scores a touchdown. Tremendous blocking up front, and Wayne Wilson goes through, standing. The Dane will kick from not only the wrong direction, but the left side. Here it is. It's good. He drills it through. And the crowd erupts again. Here's that touchdown by Wilson. Good job of blocking by the team, by the offensive line.
Watch your left guard there. Edelman, 63, trap block on number 60, Baker. Dave Wilson clean into the end zone. Beautiful play.
We got a new game. It's 7-7. 9:19 before halftime. They're going crazy in New Orleans.
Today.
Getting ready for the kickoff. The young rookie from Auburn just got caught at linebacking, huh? 7-7 tie as Anderson will kick off. He's been booming kickoffs. This is a very high kickoff. Stump Mitchell will take this, though, at the 8-yard line. Mitchell coming straight up. Bounces around. Gets to the 25-yard line. Anderson's kick a pretty good hang time as Rodney Lewis made the tackle.
You know, I can sympathize and empathize with Bob Harris, number 50, with the Cardinals. This is his first NFL game, and he's a little smaller guy than most guys in the league. Watch where he tries to, number 50, right there in the middle of the screen. Watch where he tries to use leverage. He thinks the guy's going to hit him high. He hits high. Oh, the lineman goes down and cuts his feet out from under him.
You can't trust anybody, right? That's what makes it such a game. A timeout's called. There's an injury. We'll get it in just a minute. It's a 7-7 game. Americans, who is a darn good backup quarterback, plays special teams. Sort of got shelled on that last kickoff coverage. Looks like he's going to be all right. And the Cardinals now with a chance to try to break the tie. That's Green in motion. Lomax has gone all the way. Lomax back, setting. Going to the outside to Anderson. Anderson gets a blocker. Look out. O.J. Anderson cutting back. Picks up 9 yards. Dirt Winston making the tackle. Dowhauer, of course, the old friend of Hannafin's, is the offensive coordinator.
They don't mind throwing the ball out into the flat to O.J. Anderson. And that's utilizing this ability to run. And watch the way he makes this move to the outside. Cuts back to the inside. On first down, throwing to the flat to him and letting his ability go.
Big block for Anderson, the man you see there by Dan Deerdorf. A monstrous center with the high IQ. Second down and call it less than a yard. Number 32, Anderson gets the first down and more. Anderson to the 43-yard line. Boy, can he shift gears. Watlett from the secondary stopping him there.
St. Louis's offense runs the I formation. Of course, when you got a big back, that's the best way to utilize that big back, is a big back then cut back. Here's a shot of Dan Deardor.
And there's a shot, of course, of Bruce Clark, the great Penn State All-American that came to Houston by way of Canada, like so many good players do in this Saints team. We'll be back in just a minute. It's a 7-7 tie. 8:08 left before half. There's big Bruce Clark. He's walking on that knee that's giving him a little trouble, but he looks all right. Warren will come in, number 73. This young man is vital. We're talking about Clark. The great thing that Bum Phillips says about this team is that it is deep, that he can move people in that are almost as good as the starters. 1st and 10 call. Lomax, quick drop, lead rush, good unload to the 50-yard line. Greg LaFleur to midfield. Kovac in on the tackle. Boy, good-looking movement by Lomax.
Yeah, we talked about what Dowhauer had done for Lomax, and Neil told us yesterday, he said, boy, I feel a lot more comfortable when I sit back. Watch the way he sets up tall, and his pass is supposed to be to the left. That man's covered. Right back to the secondary receiver.
And LaFleur, the tight end, of course, when Marsh isn't in there, is a very, very good pass receiver. It's 2nd down and 3. Lomax tossing back to Anderson. Anderson being cut back and being really hit. It's number 57 cut him off, Ricky Jackson. The 9th carry rushing for Anderson. Nothing at all, in fact, a loss. Boy, you go up as the safety man that you were, you go up and tell the linebackers, good job on that one, huh?
You want to turn it in, but you also want this pursuit from the linebackers coming back, and that's the strength of the New Orleans team is our linebackers. That guy kissed him right there, 57 Jackson.
When you say kiss, you mean with shoulder pads and helmet, right?
Yes.
I'm just checking out your vernacular, Waters. There he is, Ricky Jackson, a very fast, talented linebacker. Here's the shotgun on 3rd down, and a long 5. Lomax, he's got time. Oh, there's Schumann coming across the middle. Mike Schumann is inside the 20-yard line and stopped there. Wide open on the under pattern.
St. Louis Cardinals loves to run the crossing routes. The Saints are in a zone defense, and you'll see Schumann coming right across your screen, right across the middle, underneath the coverage. When they love to run those crossing routes, it didn't look like there was anybody else on the field with him.
What a throw by Lomax. He loaded up a clean one, didn't he?
Boy, he looks polished. A lot of precision at the quarterback position right now.
Cardinal bench, the Cardinal sideline. Schumann used to be with the 49ers. He's so small, he comes out of nowhere, underneath the rug somewhere.
All these receivers look like Mel Gray clones to me.
1st and 10. 7 straight completions for Lomax as Anderson was treated very rudely right around the line of scrimmage. Saints are battling. Remember, this was a good defensive New Orleans team. A year ago, they were like 5th and 7th in rushing and passing. So this is a good defensive club. Little penalty flag drop there. Might be on Dirk Winston. Did they rough up number 32? Oh, a little unsportsmanlike against New Orleans. It's going to be a popular decision.
Dennis Winston played on 2 championship teams with Pittsburgh.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 56, defense, 1st down.
Somebody hits Dirk.
Is it Steve?
Sits on him.
It's Clark, the big right tackle. Somebody tried to squash Dirt. He didn't like it. Here's Anderson breaking 2 tackles, cutting back inside. Now he's swarmed under at the 6. He's always looking for some way to break the play, though.
What I like about him, Tom, is he really gives that extra effort. And when he knows he's going to be bottled up, he's not going to let anybody hit him. He's going to punish those defensive backs. Didn't you love that when you were out there?
Oh, sure. See, my time, of course, I played when the ball was round and the helmets were soft leather, but Jim Taylor, guys like that used to do that. 10-7, Minnesota over Cleveland now. The Browns finally get in on the scoreboard with a touchdown. 4:50 left before halftime in a game that's been tied and close all the way. Green Bay, 14-10 over Houston. A lot of close games. I think this season will be close all the way to Tampa for the Super Bowl here on CBS. Bruce Clark back in the game now, number 75. Defensive left end. Miami, sort of a preseason favorite to go a long way. 6-0 over Buffalo. The crowd venting its spleen, so to speak. Officials are never popular. 7-0 Denver over Pittsburgh. Surprise. Lomax has completed 8 of his last 9 for 89 yards. Second down and goal. It's Green gone. Lomax, quick drop. Overthrows Roy Green, but safely out of bounds and stopping the clock. That's not a factor yet. Looked like the Saints picked it up pretty easily, huh?
And the Saints picked that play up well. That was the only poor pass he's thrown all day, and it's kind of like hitting a bad drive on the golf course. You want it to hit it bad down the middle. And he threw that ball poorly, but he threw it high and out of bounds.
Boy, he's really loaded up, though, like he's ready to throw. You know, before he used to run around a little bit.
Hit the little happy feet back there.
Happy feet. There's another one. I'm going to ask you about that. Derlin Moore is in now. The big Okie. This is a big play right now. 3rd and goal. Lomax throwing. Spike ball. Almost intercepted. 99. Derlin Moore got some of it, and also Elliott. Somebody got the hand up. Lomax thinks he was robbed of a touchdown.
You know, Tom, they keep stats on defensive sacks and interceptions, but I think this is something that's an intimidating factor for a quarterback. Blocked by Wilkes.
I think Derlin Moore got part of it, too.
I think that is more intimidating than interceptions and sacks. It just, those quarterbacks don't like to see they like to be able to throw the ball once they read that defense.
A good kicker. O'Donoghue's had a good preseason. He missed this one. He missed a short one. A 24-yard field goal attempt. Missed, and we still have a tie game. Hey, the crowd is noisy, and this time they like it. It's 7-7. Don't go away.
On this last kick, a short little punch, little chip shot. Watch the way the holder, Benny Perrin, leans the ball back for O'Donoghue. Every kicker likes it different. Look at the angle he puts on this. That's what O'Donoghue likes. But the reason why he missed that kick, he looked up and started watching it ahead of time. You don't need to look at the ball. The referee will tell you whether it's good or not.
And you held for 7 years, so you probably looked up into the face of kickers like that often, didn't you?
Yes, and those kickers, they think about the strange things sometimes.
And O'Donoghue did not argue, even though it was close. Best field position. Bruce Jolis just notified me this is the best field position that the Saints have had on the 20. Wilson handing off. Rogers. Rogers to the 27 in a hurry. Bobby Harris making the tackle there.
This is a big series for the Cardinals defensive team because the last series the Saints moved down the field and got a touchdown.
Following football today, CBS Sports brings you the United States Tennis Championships from back in New York, right? John McEnroe will face Vince Van Patten. Don't forget, United States Tennis Championships following the ball game right here on CBS. Boy, that is fun action. I don't play tennis very well, but I watch it extremely well. Wilson, reverse handoff. Rogers begin to get a load up. 2 straight carries and a first down. Don't let him get rolling. Grooms making the tackle after the first down.
They're running the ball over the right side an awful lot over Stan Brock, who's a potential All-Pro.
88 yards and 13 carries, and last year he had 160 some odd yards against the Dallas Cowboys flex, didn't he?
He did.
Yes, he did. You weren't playing, of course, so now you can acknowledge it, but it's a pretty good day's work against that Dallas defense. 1st and 10. 7 all time. Misdirection to Rogers coming to the right side. Showing good movement. Rogers to the 44. He's going to have some season. Mack and Perrin from the secondary making the tackle.
We mentioned that St. Louis had 2 rookies in the defensive backfield. There's 47, Cedric Mack. He's the other rookie starting. We visited with him last night, and he said, you know, I went over and asked Wayne Smith before the game. He said, look, are you nervous? And Smith said, no. He said, well, have you ever been nervous? Well, were you nervous when you started? He said, yes. He said, well, good. That makes me feel a lot better. I'm nervous.
If you're not nervous before you play this game, you better go see a shrink. First and 10. George Rogers is getting the hot hand. Wilson faking the draw. Has time. Good throw. Oh, good throw and catch. Let's see if they call it. They're going to call it a trap.
Well, Dave Wilson's he's played extremely well.
A drop pass to Wayne Wilson would have had them in a tie situation early.
A beautiful play and throw. But, you know, Wayne had a knee injury last year and missed half the season. I think he got his second game of the year. And he looks like there's no problem with his knee today.
Wilson and Gaijan are in there now. George Rogers is out. Second down and 10. You're thinking pass, right? Wrong. Inside handoff. Gaijan. Gaijan runs over 2 people, has a first down at the 42 of St. Louis.
They got that running game going.
2 big plays for Gaijan, a local boy making good. Crowd loves it. Hope you do. It's 7-7. 2-minute warning. Well, the season is underway. Don't forget at halftime, the NFL Today, Brent and Irv with scores and highlights. And, of course, the rather sad story, but it's part of life, of Art Schleister, young Baltimore quarterback, All-American out of Ohio State, and his problem with gambling. Don't forget, that's the NFL Today. And CBS has that group going every Sunday. There's Floyd Peters, the assistant head coach and coordinator on the defense for St. Louis. Done quite a job. He is really very, very bright. That means stop him. Saints are big on first down plays so far. Here's the screen pass. Oh, drop, maybe a lateral. Look out. Picked up by Bubba Baker. But Lindsey Scott had to be careful. That was almost a lateral. Which means St. Louis could just gain possession. They couldn't advance it, but... Ooh.
That ball was catchable right there. He didn't on the belly button.
I think Bubba Baker wouldn't have scored very quickly if...
Landman's dream. He might have, instead of dunking, he might have just tackled the goalpost.
Who's going to argue with him? Second down and 10. Second down and 10. Wilson. Dave Wilson is the quarterback. Stabler was hurt early. The twist is on. He's got a lot of time to throw it. Now Wilson dumps in the flat. This is Wayne Wilson. Dancing inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. Wayne Wilson, very deceptive. And last year he played about, what, 2'9". This year he looks like he's a lot bigger than that.
Oh, he looks great. He's built himself up, and as said earlier, he's just not a natural athlete. He doesn't catch the ball very well, so they've been working with him throwing. Archie used to throw a lot of balls to him, Archie Manning, but
those are the kind of guys that burn you sometimes, though. You forget about them, and all of a sudden they make the catch when you least expect it, eh?
Underrated player.
How do he build himself up? Eat lychee nuts or something for breakfast? How do you guys build up yourself then?
You got one of the things that Bum did down here in New Orleans that when he first came in and built this team, he says, look, this is a year-round job. This is not a 3-month job. Let's get in here and let's lift weights, and because it'll carry you through the season. And they had 50 guys living in New Orleans. I bet that's most in the NFL, living in New Orleans. And they've never had that before down here in New Orleans.
Well, it's a good city. If you're going to have to live somewhere, you might as well live where every night is New Year's Eve, I guess. But hard
for somebody like you,
of course. There's Bum Phillips. Been a head coach for 9 years. Of course, he was in Houston, and I think I'd like to play for a guy like Bum, don't you? I think he'd be a fun guy to play for.
You got coaches in the league that are coaches, and you got coaches in the league that are players, coaches, and I'd say that Bum is definitely a players type coach. Very personable guy.
What did you play for at Dallas? A coach's coach?
Coach's coach.
Tough schedules, and there are no easy ones anymore. The Rams, Chicago, Dallas, Miami, and Atlanta for the Saints. And we'll give you that St. Louis schedule the next 5, and that's no beauty either. Third down and call it 5. Wilson got 3 receivers to the right side. He's hit and dropped as Bubba Baker came over the top. And the Cardinals may have a fumble. They knocked it right off the arm of Dave Wilson. Duda in there too, and Baker.
They need to create the pass rush. You'll see Bubba Baker right in the middle of the screen working against Stan Brock. This is the outside move. Deep drop by Wilson, and he just slaps the ball out of his hand. They said about Baker when he came into town that Greer on the other side says, I thought I had some pass moves, but he brought a whole book with him. That wasn't a very simple, that wasn't a very complicated rush there, though. He just overpowered him and showed his speed to the outside.
And remember, Brock worked on Gastineau only a week ago and did a tremendous job keeping Mark Gastineau out for the Jets. And Brock goes 280. Bubba Baker around 290. Big turnover. Cardinals come out, toss it back to Anderson now on first down. Anderson throws an elbow and gets run into the New Orleans bench. There's a little acknowledgement there. Anderson saying, I really didn't mean to throw the elbow. Here's the St. Louis look. How would you like this one? What about Death Valley days? Dallas, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Kansas City, and a team that won the Super Bowl last year.
I'm not real sure that there's any difference in the NFL today, though. I mean, each week you can't. There's no easy. There's no breathers.
That pregame plan from week to week. Those coaches do a lot of good work, and they're skilled. Roy Green quickly on second down 9. Lomax. Oh, good throw. Green easily has it. First down, and is run out of bounds and buried by a couple of Saints. Waymer making that first contact.
This is going to be interesting to see how poised Neil Lomax is in this 2-minute period. It's always a good test.
Was it interesting, did you think, Charlie, that when Bum Phillips told us that he likes to look at his season after 6 games, and he'd like to be sort of 4-2 there, a little over 500, and...
He says that this first game really, it only means something. What did he say? It only means something if you win it.
That's right. If you win it, it's very important. If you lose it, it's not a very important game, you know. Third down and 1. I'm sorry he did not have the first. Morris has it.
You know, they got that new rule this year, Tom, that anybody can call timeout.
I can't believe that rule.
Somebody called it. Who called it right there in that pile-up? Was that a black jersey player or a white jersey player? Who's down there calling timeout?
Yeah, if you cover up everybody on a pile, how do you know which team even called it? Of course, keep in mind that a foul on the last play, if it's by the defense, cannot end a half. Now you're talking about Dick Jamieson, who's got the headset on next to head coach Jim Hannafin.
Coach Hannafin now has got a head, he's got an assistant head coach in charge of the defense, and also an offensive coordinator that he needs. And now he's able to sit back. He said yesterday, sit back and observe things more objectively and not get involved in any one area, although he will go over and yell at the offensive lineman every once in a while, and he will give some advice as he is here. But some head coaches don't even tune into it, and some of them are involved in everything.
Remember Mike Burks asking our producer last night why he wanted to coach the offensive line, and Hannafin said, how about job security? Coryell said you're going to coach him whether you like it or not.
There's a good shot at Jim Hart right there, number 17.
A few good years under his belt, huh? What a classy quarterback and a great guy.
Only 35,000 yards he's accumulated.
Don't forget, next Sunday, the NFL Today, then Dallas at St. Louis, and these Saints will play the Los Angeles Rams in Anaheim.
The Dallas Cowboys hate to go to St. Louis. They don't fare well in that city.
I think it's a nice city. I like St. Louis.
Well, it's not the city. It's that little stadium that they play.
Oh, you mean the football game itself. First and 10 now, 1:06 left before halftime. We've got a 7-all tie, and it's been sort of pillar to post. It's been drop passes, missed field goals. It's Martian motion. Lomax now dancing, being rushed. They're going to call for intentional grounding here. If you're dumping the ball off just to avoid a sack, it's supposed to be loss of down. Back to the point of Bruce Clark came on like a truck. I don't see a flag, though, do you?
No, that...
wow.
Not question that. You can't throw the ball away if you're in somebody's grasp either.
They didn't call it a sack either. They've moved it back up to the original snap point.
I was about to say that was a little lost poise on Lomax's part, but it ended up being a pretty good move.
There's Bum.
Bum's going to interpret the rule for him. Now, in this situation, Tom, he'd be in the shotgun, but because of the noise factor, he's got to get under the center.
Good point. Big rush. Lomax trying for Roy Green. No flags are down. Roy being converged on as Johnny Poe and Watlett had a pretty good range on the ball. Lomax's arm all right. Looks like he was hurt when Clark hit him a minute ago.
Speed on the outside for the Cardinals. There's a blitz on. Defensive backs have these guys man-to-man. And Lomax feels that he could squeeze the ball in to Roy Green right there. If he'd have thrown the ball to him, I think Watlett would have picked it.
Pretty close. There's defensive backs over there. Just nobody picks up for you in that secondary. You got to do it on your own. Lomax now trying from the shotgun. Listen to the noise. The blitz is on, a safety blitz. Schumann has it pretty close to a first down. Is it a first or not? Closely covered by Lewis.
On the blitz, you've got to protect for the deep route. Left-hand side of your screen. Rodney Lewis, number 29, having to play the cornerback on Schumann. He's getting the play because Russell Gary, the starting strong safety for the Saints, is injured.
Almost missed that tackle, didn't he?
Would have been well, that's what you do when you take a chance on a blitz, Tom. You isolate those guys, and you might make a big play, but you also might make a big play for the other team. But Rodney Lewis was a teammate with Russell Gary at Nebraska, and the reason why he's getting the play today is because Gary's hurt. Kind of used to a little bit.
Yeah, he's got that hamstring problem, and you know you feel pretty good with a hamstring until you make a quick start in the secondary, and all of a sudden you're beaten for a touchdown. Remember now, the Cardinals have burned 2 timeouts. They have 1 left, and they're 46 seconds on the clock. We have a tie game. And remember that O'Donohue has made a 53-yarder this year. He just missed one from 24. This one will be a 47-yard attempt. Benny Perrin, the second-year safety man, the holder.
Let's check and see if he keeps his head down on this one.
Okay. It is good, and it would have been good from 60. That was a tremendous boot. The man from Dublin used to kick with Tampa Bay. As you know, boy, kickers, the buck stops there.
We mentioned that he had pulled his head up quickly on the field goal that he missed. He's a tall guy, 6'6". He jerked it up pretty soon.
Will he tell us?
Put a little body English in that one.
When they played Glasgow, that's the way he looked when he was kicking over there.
He's unusual, though. I mean, he's different, and of course,
what do you mean by
all
that?
different? All kickers are different. Well, he's 6'6". And you get most of your kickers are your Septien, Efren Herrera, Tony Fritsch, Tony Franklin, all little guys. You know, they've got good leverage coming up under the ball. This guy has to get down real low because he's 6'6". That's a tall kicker.
Let me tell you something. They're all different. I've never seen a kicker that wasn't just a little bit different than everybody else. A good field goal of 47 yards by O'Donohue. And the one thing that Jim Hannaford does not have to worry about is his kicking game. O'Donohue is superb right now. And, of course, Birdsong is one of the very fine punters. Wayne Wilson and Duckett back to accept now as the Saints will try to use 41 seconds and just be careful. Perhaps looking for a field goal to tie. That's Duckett. Duckett, there's a flag down, but Duckett breaks through a tremendous hole. They're going to maybe call this back, but Duckett is gone. He's gone. It's over. O'Donohue can't catch you, and there's a flag back. 3 of them back inside the 20-yard line. He can't believe it. The last kickoff run back by the Saints was November 22nd of 1977.
Boo Bird's out. Kenny Duckett, 83 right there. He catches 4 passes in preseason, and 3 of them are touchdown. He's got a flair for the touchdown.
Remember earlier he had a good jumpy catch, and they had a penalty on that one. Everybody's coming over. I saw Marty come over. Rodney Lewis, the whole gang. What a run back.
Illegal block in the back above the waist. Number 58, receiving team. First up.
Somebody cheated on the play, but I tell you, you can't take away from what Kenny Duckett does right here.
Well, he can burst.
Boy, he knew where he was going, too, didn't he, Charlie?
Yeah, sir. There's a lot of speed. You know, the guy is a diabetic and has to give himself a shot every day, an insulin shot.
Boy, that was a shot. Called back. Now it'll be 1st and 10 facing young Dave Wilson. Boy, he's in troubled territory. He's got to be very careful the next 28 seconds. Rogers out over the 10 and then swamped under by Cardinals. Very tough time to play offense when you're deep in your own territory and you've just had a tremendous kickoff return called back. Look at this. Bum Phillips cannot believe the fortunes of life today for him.
Well, he's seen Wayne Wilson drop a touchdown pass. He's seen his quarterback go down early, and then he just got a beautiful kickoff return and called back for a touchdown. That'll stun you.
All right, as you watch the coach, Bum Phillips, going off, we have a 10-7 ball game at half. George Rogers has rushed for 103 yards already. Back at the Superdome, it's St. Louis 10, New Orleans 7. We got a half to go, and George over the Saints by that field goal, a 47-yarder by O'Donoghue. Hear those stats. 30 yards rushing by New Orleans, and as we know, George Rogers had 113 of that, I believe, and he has the record for the Saints, which is 166 yards rushing. Rogers probably figures he can break it. About Stabler's, first time he went back to pass the first series, Kenny Stabler got hit. Now, will you explain this, Charlie Waters?
At the top of the show, we said St. Louis is working on stunts. Well, here's a good example of stunt in that they had to protect Stabler right over the center, right over 62.
Right center of your screen.
Is Grooms coming around on the stunt. And the key to the play is that number 60, Baker, takes two guys out of the play. He held on to Brock a little bit, number 67 of the Saints, and he was slow getting back to scrape off on Grooms, and that's how Kenny gets hurt.
Bubba Baker, of course, a tremendous acquisition by St. Louis. Now Morton Anderson will kick off, and Stump, Mitchell, Harrell, and Farrell are back. This is Stump being driven out of the end zone by the young Dane, and they'll touch it down. Even Stump didn't want to ride it back. Anderson, of course, on the national handball team for Denmark. He and Willie Galt were not allowed by the IOC, the Olympic Committee, to participate in there, but he is some kicker.
He's a good kicker, and
boy,
he's funny. You know, these kickers they got those shoes. This Anderson guy wears a white shoe and a black shoe. You know what?
Is it turned up at the toes?
Yeah. Why does he do that? I wonder why he didn't get two shoes of the same color.
Jim Hart is the quarterback, so that shoulder on Lomax when he was almost deliberately dropping the ball, Jim Hart has come into the game now. 64% completions during this preseason, and number 17 comes right out throwing. He's going across the middle. Marsh at the 27-yard line. Now, you played for years against Jim Hart. What does he have? What does he bring into that huddle right now?
Well, he's got a lot of poise. He'll put fear in your heart. He's as clever. Very interesting comparison. He and Stabler together, they amounted almost 60,000 yards. But the two things about these guys are, boy, they can pick a defense apart. They analyze what's going on immediately.
Lomax, by the way, has a bruised shoulder. He can return, which is the good news. And Jim Hart is in there handing off to Anderson. Anderson in a hurry to the 36-yard line, and I mean rushed right at it. Nothing fancy about the play. It's give it to the big guy and get out of his way. Jim Hart, of course, in his 18th season. That is one short of a record set by Jim Marshall, the Viking.
Jim Hart's in the lineup. Lomax hurts his shoulder right at the end of the first half. Is not too bad. But, you know, I talked to Jim just before he came out on the field. You know, I really like where I am this year. Last year it wasn't very comfortable for me because I didn't think I was going to get the play. But now I'm just like a relief pitcher. They'll use me just about as much as they'll use Lomax.
Of course, the Cardinal record was held by Jim Bakken, the great field goal kicker, and Hart will be breaking that, of course, with this first series now in his 18th season. Been some great Cardinals, and you're looking at one of them. Number 17, ooh, good throw. Roy Green taking a good shot, but holding on. Short of that first down, though.
Jim Hart is so good, so adept at reading who the man to throw to is. You know, it sounds like a simple little thing, but he's got an option to throw it downfield or out to the flat. And you talk about poise in the huddle, or poise when he sets up in the pocket. Well, that man is the epitome of it.
When they had that tremendous offensive line a few years ago, they only, he was sacked, eight times one whole season.
Couldn't get to him. He also has a short setup, too.
Second down and just short of a first down by less than a yard. Drive play. I believe he's short. Good defensive recovery there by Dennis Winston. Dirt Winston made a tremendous play, and Johnny Poe helped out. Looked like Hart might have changed the play, you think?
Yeah, he audible to something that he saw, but he must not have. His eyes must have been lying to him right there.
Hole looked like it opened up, didn't it, for just a moment for Anderson, huh?
Yeah.
Boy, Dirt Winston, can he make your defensive team solid in a hurry?
They voted him captain last year, which was a great tribute to him his first year with the team.
Lomax on the sidelines, could return, we were told. It looks like he's holding his shoulder a little bit funny. All right, Hart in the outside to Anderson into New Orleans territory to the 41-yard line. Johnny Poe getting another tackle. Boy, Anderson out in the flat with the ball is really scary.
Smooth handoff. Good. It looked like, and it was such a good fake. It looked like handoff, but that's what's Jim is so smooth. Jim Hart is so smooth at faking those handoffs, and just a nice little touch in the flat. Earlier we saw that Lomax had a ball in the flat and he overthrew the guy where the back is kind of angling away from him. Jim, nice throw.
Hart and Deerdorf have opened a restaurant up in St. Louis called Deerdorf's and Hart. I guess that figures, but two pretty classy athletic people in that great city. If Deerdorf's involved, they got to have steaks about 5 inches thick. First and 10 from the 40. Ooh, straight drop back. He's got time. Hart going to the outside of Tilley. Tilley has it at the 15-yard line. Inside the 15 and wide open. He had backed off the defensive back, Watley. Rodney Lewis finally had the help.
We hadn't seen much of Pat Tilley this afternoon. Play action fake. That's where they fake the run. Jim waits for him to clear. And he's working on Rodney Lewis out there, number 29. His first start in the NFL.
Fine little receiver, though. Well, he was averaging 60 catches, 65 through years when it was tough. And I've seen him get hit, knocked down, hurt, come back in the game and still play. He's a tough little character. First and 10, the Cardinals got something going, and Jim Hart's the quarterback in the second half. There's the draw play. Oh, hit a beautiful play by Derlin Moore. The Sooner was waiting for that quick draw.
We mentioned Derlin in his 11th year here. This is his second year at the nose tackle. He's just kind of like a sacrificial lamb at that position. And he makes a great move here, right over the center, and just pushes Deerdorf out of the way and meets Anderson as soon as he gets the handoff. NFL arm wrestling champion, Derlin Moore.
Well, Deerdorf said that Derlin tries to use that press almost. You know, that's how he jams up there, trying to get a big offensive center out of the way. That way, at the time it worked. A loss of 6. Second down and 16. A lot of time. Hart going outside. Anderson not looking for the ball. Watched it whistle on by. Ricky Jackson had a better chance to catch it than Anderson.
Well, Jim's not very excited about himself right there. Battery's concerned with why Anderson wasn't ready to look for the ball. Jim throws it before OJ's even looking. Put a little bit behind him, too. Ricky Jackson, 57, almost got another interception.
First incompletion for Jimmy Hart. He was 4 for 4. Now he is 4 for 5. Big play right here. If New Orleans is going to stay in the football game, they got to make them settle for a field goal here. Here's the shotgun formation with Hart. He's going outside. Roy Green's being banged around, and it's off the hands, and I do not see a flag there. Waymer playing extremely effective bump and run. I didn't think he could do that anymore, but he did it and got away with it.
Looked like there was plenty of contact down there.
You can hit and chuck one time inside that first 5 yards, and then it's hands off. O'Donohue now will come on the field. By the way, the 47-yard field goal was nowhere near a St. Louis record. The record's held by Jim Bachman, 51 yards, and a fellow named Summerall, who played for the Cardinals way back when, had one for 49. This one, of course, is from the 38-yard attempt. Perrin's hold, not too good, maybe. He had to scramble for it. He didn't get it. He left it out to the right side of the fairway, as Perrin had to fool with the ball a little bit.
Benny Perrin, 23, is the holder. He's taken over for Roger Worley, who did it for about 12 years with the Cardinals. He does a good job of getting the ball up because the ball bounced on the ground. What hurt on this play was that it messed up the timing of the kicker, and they work every day on the timing. The score is still 10-7.
Good goal line stand, if you can call it that, by the Saints. The missed field goal by O'Donoghue, correctly covered by my analyst Charlie Waters right here. That was a good save, really, by Perrin of perhaps a little bit of a low snap. Anyway, it's a 10-7 game St. Louis, but they had a chance to really get a notch. Stabler will not be back. You're looking at Dave Wilson, 6'3", 210, and he had a good first half. Handoff to Rogers, who had a tremendous first half. Only a couple. Rogers 103 yards gained in the first half on 15 carries. David Galloway, first man to make contact. This fellow played 1 year at 228. This year he's 219.
Said he's going to gain 1,500, 2,000 yards, whatever comes first. Explain that one, Tom.
I like it. He picked up 4 yards. Didn't look like it, did it? That's growth in motion. Wilson with the quick draw. Rogers was a tremendous cut. Rogers runs over people. He's still on his feet. Rogers being chased. The 30, 20. George Rogers went coast to coast. Here and did. 76 yards, 183 unofficially already, and we're early in the third period. Anderson, wow, dead solid, perfect. Do you think George Rogers can electrify a whole ball club?
Well, the difference in a mediocre back in the NFL and a great back is when you get into the open field, do you have that potential to break it all the way? That's a power move on Benny Perrin right there, running over 23. This is an electrifying run, boy. I tell you, this is what made this guy NFL Player of the Year and NFL Rookie of the Year 2 years ago.
Rogers just breaking his old rushing mark of 166 to smithereens, and he's just getting started. It's 14-10, New Orleans. Big play man George Rogers hitting some oxygen. What does he deserve it? This crowd is still buzzing. And this is New Orleans. They have a lot of excitement down here, but nothing like Rogers today. Listen to this. Anderson holding up his kickoff. Stump Mitchell is not impressed. He will run this one back if he can get his hands on it. Oh, tremendous kickoff by Anderson. That's Harrell. Harrell brings it out. Harrell at the 17-yard line. As Guido Merkins makes a good tackle, and Anderson drilled the ball deep again.
Well, George Rogers promised that he was going to be back to his old form. Well, the thing that impresses me about this run right here, delivers that blow, and then he makes a little juke step. That's some acceleration. Great back.
And in shape, he looks like a halfback now. At 228, he looked like sort of a fullback. Those are some good moves. He's been a stand-up tall guy. When he had his problems, he stood right up and took it. And you can see these people appreciate it. 8:56 to go in this third period. It's wild. Inside handoff. Morris is dropped. Bruce Clark making a very quick play from the defensive end spot. Now, the St. Louis situation. What do you try to do? Calm everybody down by a big play, or do you just take it easy if you're Jim Hart?
Oh, I think they just need to get a couple good yards. I don't think they ought to try to pop for a long play, because then you're taking a chance of. There's Hannafin right there. He's concerned. I bet he gets involved in making some decisions now.
It's second down and 10. No gain. Morris, Anderson, straight drop back. Anderson's out. Almost intercepted. He's intercepted. That's Dirt Winston. Winston, he fumbles the ball. And I believe the Saints have the ball at the 6-yard line. Let's see. Phillips said this is a deep ball club, but he needed Dirt Winston.
We just said the thing you don't need to do is do anything that takes a chance on getting the other team fired up. And Jim Hart threw the ball in the crowd, and Dirt makes a great interception, 56, but couldn't hold on to it. Watley was smart enough to grab a hold of it.
I believe that was Lewis or somebody came up with it. Looks a reaction by Bum Phillips. He's the head coach, and he can't see the play with those Giants around it. It's first and goal. New Orleans on fire. Wayne Wilson to about the 2.5-yard line. 17 years and not a winning season. Now, you think these people don't have a right to enjoy this somewhat?
Bum has gone out on the limb and predicted, hey, so this is going to be the year we're going to win more than we lose. And he said he promised, I will never do that. After he said that kick the door thing down out there in Houston.
Yeah, that's right.
But he really believes that this is going to be the year, the first winning season ever for the Saints.
Is it next year yet? There are no bags here. There are no sacks over anybody's heads. Second down, go. Inside handoff. George Rogers to the 1-yard line and stacked up. Aarons was first. And Baker, etc., etc., etc.
Pretty impressive stand so far by the St. Louis defense. If they could stop him and hold him to 3, then it wouldn't be that much of a shift in momentum, I don't think, Tom.
Rodgers stunning everybody with a long touchdown run. And now the defense has hurt Jim Hannafin's team a lot. Third down. Rodgers. Touchdown. There's nothing like success to make your program start rolling. Stan Brock, the big right tackle that time, pushed people back into the end zone. That's 2 touchdowns in a short time for George Rogers. He may lead the league in scoring. In 3 plays.
A lot of white jerseys to run through. They've hit in the line 2 times and didn't get anywhere. You ask yourself, well, why are they going to do it again? And I'll tell you why. You get the extra effort on George Rogers falling over the line. He does get past the line.
They ran right at Bubba Baker. $21-10. You can hear it. George, the man you're looking at, 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes and 24 seconds. And when he was taken #1 by the Saints, some people thought it should have been Lawrence Taylor. I think Rodgers has a job here. Stump Mitchell at the 1. Stump Mitchell in hard at the 21. Guido Merkins again down quickly under the kickoff. What's the advantage to opening at home? Is it only an advantage if you win?
I guess if you ask Bum, that's the way he would answer it. No, but I think it's great to open it up. It's just as much because this first game, I really feel the first game is very important. It can carry you for 3 or 4 games. Of course, if you put all the emphasis on it and you lose, then it could work as an adverse effect for you.
Bum Phillips walking the sidelines in his cowboy boots with a 21-10 lead. Jim Hart, quarterback. Quick drop, out in the flat. Roy Green covered very quickly by the secondary. Number 44 came up, along with Dennis Winston. Waymer and Winston. Boy, Dirk Winston is everywhere. Don't forget, next Sunday, the NFL Today starts it off with Brent and Irv and Phyllis and company back in New York, then Dallas at St. Louis. Well, that's going to be some contest. And these New Orleans Saints go to Anaheim. That could have a lot to do with this division.
And they've got that Eric Dickerson out there at L.A. He's supposed to be in the next George Rogers.
Second down and 6. Hart back to throw again. Hart going deep. He has Roy Green open. Overthrows it. A gasp, an indoor gasp by 65,000 plus.
I've seen him do it before. Jim Hart can strike at any moment, any place on the field. And on that pass, I guess he was throwing for a man that can run a 40 in 4.29, Roy Green.
Hart really was pumped up, too. He wanted to make sure it was there. Huh? That was a screamer.
That would have quieted the crowd somewhat here.
Boy, Roy Green is fast, though. He broke out very quickly. There he is. I'll tell you, he was a heck of a defensive back. Quarterback and receiver look into one another's eyes, eh?
He said he's still ready to play defensive back if you need him.
Third down and 6. It's shotgun time. Hart being rushed. Oh, good power. Incomplete pass. Willie Harrell, I believe it was. Willard Harrell had it for a moment. Poe forced the incompletion. They're buzzing on Bourbon Street today.
It's a good shot of Ricky Jackson right there. He played defensive end with Hugh Green at Pittsburgh, and he led the team in tackles. You see how they're treating Jim Hart.
Oh, my gosh. Back to the restaurant. Oh, Jimmy took a tumble. He's taken that and gotten up a few times. Birdsong now the punter. And Groth is waiting. Let's see if Birdsong gets off a punt. It's a driver, but it's low. This can be returned. Groth at the 31. Ooh, good coverage. Flags are down. Flags are down near the position where they made the tackle, and that was Stump Mitchell making that tackle. Wow, George Rogers turned the game sort of upside down. 2 touchdowns quickly. Illegal block and an illegal man downfield, and we will punt the football again. That was a 43-yard punt. That was a 43-yard punt, but it was not a good hang time punt, not for Birdsong. We'll try to give you a clock this time and see what the hang time is.
Ineligible downfield, number 51, punting team, illegal block in the back, number 29, receiving team, penalties offset, 4th down.
You have to understand these special team players are somewhere between a kamikaze pilot and an old Roman guard. You know what I mean? You've got to go down and give yourself up. Would that be fair to say? Did you ever cover punts or anything?
Did I? Well, I tried my best to do a poor job every time.
They get off.
10 years in the league, and I'm still covering the punts. You don't see many punts these days, or in the kicking game, without a penalty.
It's true. Carl Birdsong on 4th and 5. Groth is back again. It's Clark the snapper, 64. Oh, this is a good one. Groth driven back to the 23-yard line. Good coverage. Tackles, and a few bodies are flying. And yes, tempers are getting short. Wow, it's opening day. Birdsong wins the duel. Stump Mitchell making another tackle. 21-10, New Orleans. Here in a beautiful location, don't you think, Charlie?
Oh, it's great to be up here, and I'm not going to be very sore tomorrow.
Well, you'll be able to get out of bed and move your head and everything. When you played, it was always tough, wasn't it?
You bet.
Good football game, the first one for us, and we hope you're enjoying it. I know if you're a St. Louis fan, you're sort of hanging on the edge right now, but they're a good football team. Don't count them out yet. Dave Wilson, the quarterback. Fake draw. Wilson steadying his feet, going up and overthrowing. Intending for Kenny Duckett. We haven't seen Goodlow yet, the young man that Bum Phillips lured down from Canada. He's a good-looking receiver, isn't he? Yes, Tom, I think he is a good-looking receiver. There's a flag on the play now. Wilson has got to set his feet a little bit more. He's sort of feeling his way. Stabler was hurt on the first series.
Number 64, offense, still first down.
For 64 for holding. That's LaFari there at the left tackle spot. Working against Curtis Greer, who's a darn good football player. It's first and a bunch, first and 20 some odd. Handoff. George Rogers storming through there. And Bubba Baker hit him a big shot, but he still got to the 25. Gaijan, not George Rogers. He played high school ball nearby here. He is a very popular young person, a 6-yard gain.
Shows you what type of attack that and how they're approaching this game at this point. When the first play of that series, they came out with a deep pass. Wide open attack. They want to put it away.
You played a defense for a dozen years. I'll take your word for it. Somebody's jumping. 75 came across Curtis Greer and then tried to get back. Let's see if he was drawn or not. Crowd simmering just a bit.
False start, 85, offense.
Tom Goodlow's in the game now. Make your point.
That was Brenner, the tight end, that probably moved a hand or a knuckle, and Curtis Greer jumped over there. Make it official. The Saints stalling a little bit on offense now. It's not a time to do a turnover. St. Louis will jump back in the game in a hurry. St. Louis a little thin maybe in the secondary, or at least young. But they'll hit you this year, and I mean hit you for 4 quarters. Jumped.
Well, this is strange. You think it might be because Kenny is not in there, Kenny Stabler working with the first group?
False start, 67, offense.
Stan Brock this time, and Bubba Baker quickly came across to make it official. Now they're all talking to one another.
You get used to a certain man's cadence, especially when you work with the first group.
False start, number 67, offense. Still second down.
Remember, the defensive players can move and twitch and do all that.
And they can yell.
Of course, you can't taunt, though. That's against the rules. But you can yell. It is. 9 penalties. Nine penalties so far for 66 yards. Here's Wilson. Wilson breaking tackles out over the 21-yard line. Benny Perrin making the tackle. It was interesting what Benny Perrin, the young man from Alabama, told you about that if he had a chance to safety blitz and Snake Stabler, his old idol, was there, what he would do.
Benny Perrin controls what the defensive backfield does. He's getting signals from the coach right there. He's an intelligent guy, but he's also a hitter. And we asked him, said, boy, he's my Kenny Stabler. I watched him long ago in college, and now I'm getting to play against him. I said, well, if you got a chance to hit him, what would you do? Would you just tackle him? He said, no, I'd drill him.
That's a defensive back, isn't it? 4:34 in the third period. Inside handoff, nowhere. Wayne Wilson couldn't pick up anything, and the Saints suddenly have stalled out a little bit.
Looks a little questionable right here. They didn't look crisp on that series at all, and it kind of opens up the door for momentum to shift with St. Louis if they want to take charge of it.
A little tentative, as Charlie Waters said, and now Stump Mitchell, a fellow that is not tentative in the least. The stumper man is going to be back at about the 40. And Erxleven's going to punt for only the second time today. Third time today. There's the numbers. Boy, those are good numbers. This is a good kick. This is a good kick. Mitchell at the 33. Hit, gets away. Stump Mitchell took it and was hit immediately. And bodies are flying again. Rogers making the tackle. Good football game. We got 3:40 left in the third, and it's just getting started. That looks like a building, but it's the #1 draft out of Arkansas.
He's got legs coming out of his shoulders, it looks like.
He's a backup guard. He's going to be a good one, isn't he?
First-round draft choice, can bench press 585 pounds. That's 85 pounds more than Randy White. And when they drafted him, they took him and said, do it, lift it. So he did it. He lifted 585.
I bet he can make a Razorback call you won't believe. 1st and 10. Jim Hart's a quarterback. Misdirection play, and Anderson trips at the 29-yard line. The flag is down. They may have caught New Orleans jumping offside. Looked like Hart might have staggered his count a little bit. Jimmy Wilkes might have been a little too eager. It's very hard to get on your defensive players, though, if this is an error of just tension, isn't it? You don't want to tell them not to be ready to jump either, do you?
Offside, defense, still first down.
I never have understood and never will understand how a defensive lineman will jump off sides.
Listen, there are a lot of them out there. They're going to be writing down what you say, you know.
So you've got to look at the ball. That's all they have to do is look at the ball. It's just pay attention to any noises.
And the quarterbacks, of course, who trusts a quarterback, right? 1st and 5. The toss back to Anderson, who's been pretty quiet. Flags are down again. But Anderson didn't pick up at about a half yard and probably a headache. Kovacs there. Anderson sits that first quarter really hasn't been called upon, and illegal procedure.
Had a lot of good scheme, a lot of different offensive looks and formations and movement in the first big part of the game. St. Louis did, and they've been away from it.
Motion, number 80, offense, still first down.
Doug Mars heading upfield before the snap. Other scores: Rams by 10 over the Giants in the third period. Atlanta trailing Chicago. That was not over, but that's in the fourth quarter. And here we've got a 21-10 job in the third. And flags are down again. It looked like the right tackle went early. Green makes the catch, but I believe either the tight end or the right tackle came off early for the St. Louis Cardinals. A lot of penalties already. The New Orleans Saints have had 9 penalties. Offsides called against St. Louis.
Jim's disappointed in that. You wondered what I mentioned earlier about the first team line going with the first team.
Offsides, number 80, offense, still first down.
Going in there with the second team quarterback. Just the cadence, a little different, maybe a little different in calling the play in the huddle.
We've seen each team have a little trouble with it now. 3:24 on the clock. And the crowd's beginning to get a feel. They got to get something going. As Jim Hart goes in there. Look at this, Minnesota 27-14. 31-17. Green Bay laying it on Houston now. Detroit 8-0 over Tampa Bay. That's Baltimore still holding on to a slight margin over New England. Cush is having some problems there with people that he's releasing. The Raiders 17, Cincinnati 3. Boy, that Raiders bunch, they're tough on defense, aren't they? Pittsburgh 10-7 over Denver now. That game we expected a lot of points out of, and what we're getting is superb defense, I suppose. Elway in his debut. That's a guy that should know about Pittsburgh. I did his first game in preseason when Winston had come out of Arkansas, and he wasn't on the field at New England for 2 minutes. He'd started the darndest fight I ever saw.
I tell you what, he's a tough guy. He has a lot of respect from the other players, but he's a very sensitive man. We asked him yesterday, how did he get the name Dirt? He told us a story that meant a lot to him. He had a friend in college, good running mate with him, that nicknamed him Dirt and didn't think much of the name. And well, his friend passed away with leukemia by the time he was a senior, and now he likes the nickname. He likes for people to call him Dirt because it reminds him of the close relationship he had with the fellow and what it meant to him. So he's a very sensitive young man, and he's very mature for a 26-year-old.
I'd say. First down and 15. 3 straight penalties. Anderson got blocking out in front. Cuts up inside. Anderson gets out over the 35-yard line. Johnny Poe making the tackle there. Bostic, the right guard, got out cleanly and escorted 32 for a while.
A lot different attack here than you see. St. Louis will have the pulling guards where you just don't see that classic end-run sweep with the New Orleans team. Bostic is their best guard. Of course, he's got a brother that plays for Washington.
Good offensive center, isn't he?
He was a center in college at Clemson.
Of course, you should know about that. That's your old school, isn't it?
Yeah, he played on the championship team.
2:41 left before the third quarter is history. Dip outside by 32. Almost got the first down back. Bodies are really beginning to fly now as gang tackling seems to be what the Saints defense is going to live with.
The safeties have to get involved in the running game these days in the NFL. You see, there's the two of them at the top of your screen there on the left-hand side. That's Watlett and Poe. Watch the way Poe, near 25, is coming in to close. He's got to get involved now. It's hard to deliver a blow on a big back like that when he's got that much speed going.
You get there, you have to do it, don't you? There's Poe, and here's a third down a foot. Roy Green in motion. Oh, handoff, 32. Anderson, oh, does he get it? It's going to be awfully close. 1, 2, 3 Saints came along, like in a formation. It's going to be awfully close. Crowd getting very quiet now.
He had about 6 guys hit him, Tom, and he kept on going. He runs straight up. It looked like he was running straight up, but he still has a lot of power with that upright vertical running stance.
There's Winston. Dirk's going to go check it out and make sure that chain is stretched. Anderson has 59 yards and 17 carries. He's done it rather quietly. It's a first. A big first down. Deerdorf and the offensive linemen are now talking to the defensive linemen. They're having words across that line of scrimmage. Let's watch some of that.
I say Dirk Winston, 56, gets involved. Watch him throw off the back of Louis Sharp right there. The block of Louis Sharp, 67, and pursue down the line. And he just tackle him. He tries to punish him every time. And that effort right there might have been the thing that kept him. Well, they get the first.
Winston, though, weighing 250, and he's a good linebacker. 1:20 left. Big first down for St. Louis. The fake draw. Hart's got a man in the corner open. That's Marsh. Overthrows Doug Marsh at the 30. Poe and Waymer were there, but in the wake. What was he trying to do? Get some one-on-one coverage because it was the tight end on that formation?
A play action pass where you fake that running play on that side of the field, and you hope your end can fake his block and then escape down between the safety and the corner. Jim had too much velocity on that ball. It just wasn't a soft pass, and I've seen him throw that pass and complete it 9 out of 10 times.
Perhaps a little rusty, huh?
He looked great last week, though, Tom.
Yeah, that's true. A tough spot. Good defensive ball club. Oh, the sack. Holland. Wilkes. And, of course, Whitney Paul, the linebacker. They go from that 34 to a four-man front almost every play.
I think they had a screen pass called. And on the screen, your offensive lineman blocked for a second and then float out into the flat. But 74 Derlin Moore beats Steve to the outside and punishes Jim Hart.
And that time, New Orleans used a twisting, stunning defense. Shotgun time. Hart. Oh, great catch by Roy Green. You won't see a better hang-on than that.
And a great throw by Jim Hart. A very similar throw he needed before, that lofting over the linebackers, but short of the safeties.
Hurley made the tackle. What a catch and what a throw.
You're looking at Pat Tilley on the bottom and Roy Green on the top, and Tilley will clear across the middle and watch Green coming across between the linebackers and the safeties. That's a nice throw and a nice kind of used his leg to hold on and got hit and still makes the catch.
Use his thigh guard to catch it. Boy, when you're playing defense, that hurts though, doesn't it?
They hit him that hard and he still holds on and uses a leg to catch it.
Roy Green making a great catch. The gun sounds. That's one more quarter to go. It's 21-10. New Orleans. Attendance today here at the Superdome, 65,225. Capacity is 71,330, by the way. But this is the first game, and if they win this one, the sky's the limit. This place knows how to celebrate. They love parades, and they love heroes, and this sports team they've been waiting for a long time.
And they love this team. Through the years that they've lost games, they've still been here.
It's a love-in, that's what it is. 1st and 10. Only back is Anderson, and he gets the call. The toss to reverse. Roy Green with the football. If Tilley gets a block, he's got a chance. Tilley got a block. Roy Green to the 21-yard line. He is a tremendous athlete. Winston had to make the tackle then. He might have scored.
When you're doing some things good, you can run these trick plays, and right now the momentum seems to be shifted a little bit. Quiet the crowd down. O.J. Anderson handing off to Green. Lee Bacher, Bostic 71 and 64. Clark.
Well, Tilley got a good block too. So did Bostic. Everybody took a shot. Cardinals are coming on. Roy Green finally gets a breather. Remember, the Saints have been chasing plays a lot. You can once in a while burn them when you do that. There's Anderson being chased to the sideline. No dice. Everybody waiting for the great runner from Miami, Rodney Lewis, up very quickly.
It sort of looked like he was waiting to hurt a little bit.
Looks like Anderson might have run onto that track surface over there that is not covered. Well, I didn't think that the young defensive back hit him very much at all. It ran him out of bounds.
Whitney Paul.
Rodney Lewis, was it? Just sort of pushed him out of bounds. He might have slipped. Lewis and Paul. Now let's just see what happened.
You know, I think you got a finger in the eye. I think he dropped the ball before he got out of bounds. I think somebody stuck a finger in his eye.
A fumble back at the 25-yard line. Jim Hart recovered his own fumble. Anderson being helped off behind the Cardinal bench and really sort of distracted the offensive team. Their superstar perhaps hurt.
Slight lull in this drive. You had two great plays to get the team fired up, and now they're going backwards. It's 3rd and 15.
In the backfield, Mitchell. Stump Mitchell's in the backfield, number 30. Hart is the shotgun man. He's being chased, being rushed. Jim Hart's going to run with it. It's awfully close to a first down to the 12-yard line. Bill Hurley. Gosh, 18 years and you go hustling off heading for the goal line. That's wild.
Well, he got after that when he decided to go for it. He must have seen there was no way he was going to get the primary receiver. And, you know, he turns it up pretty good here, Tom.
He's been watching Anderson. Going to be inches. Now what do you do? Take your 3 points here, or do you try to go ahead and end up getting 7? They trail 21 to 10. Saints exploded in 2.5 minutes for 2 George Rogers touchdowns.
There's Jim Hart. You can see on his left knee down there. Left knee. He's got one of those Lenox Hill braces, what Joe Namath made popular in the 60s. He's been wearing it for about 5 years. He goes to the bench. He doesn't get water. They grease up that knee.
Anderson may be back. Right now you've got Stump Mitchell in the tailback spot and Wayne Morris. Oh, fumble by Hart. The Saints have held. Fumble snap on 4th and a foot.
Still 4th down. Delay of game. Delay of game. 4th down.
Well, they've called a penalty, Tom. They called delay of game so they get to run the play over again.
Wow. What a call.
Isn't that right?
That's what they just called, but Bum wants to get an explanation, and I think he has every right to ask for it.
Before the ball was snapped, delay of game, offense, still 4th down.
On the delay of game penalty, the whistle was blown, and the ball it's a dead ball. There's a no play. You have to take the penalty, and you get the down over again.
I didn't see any flags before the snap. That's what throws me off with this call.
Nor hear any whistles.
Now, let's see what we're going to try the field goal. O'Donohue will be back on the 25 for a 35-yard field goal attempt. He had a 47-yarder good. He's missed a couple of times inside of that. Perrin is the holder. Clark is the snapper.
The psychology of a kicker right here. He's not really on today. Both of them have been kind of hooks.
The Saints now must not allow themselves to be distracted. A timeout has been called by New Orleans.
Bum Phillips is demanding to talk to the head referee.
There's Bum Phillips' son, the defensive coordinator, talking to Dad, saying, "Settle down, Dad. We've got a lead, 11 points. It's 21-10 in the 4th period." Bum Phillips is raging, and we have been told, and we've decided that the official was coming with it. They had run out of time. The 30-second clock was gone, and therefore the play never started. It did not exist. Don't ask me to explain any more than that, because that's as good as I could do. The missed field goals were from 24, 28, and O'Donohue made one from 47. This is 35. Oh, Perrin misses it. It is being scooted by the Saints, and Perrin recovers on the 49-yard line. New Orleans has the football. Keep in mind, the New Orleans Saints have only won 2 opening day games in their history in 17 years.
Clark's snap appeared to be a good snap, a little high, but good enough for a holder to hold on to it. You'll see the snap just a little high for Benny Perrin. And that just shows you how important that guy is, that holder and the snapper. The kicker gets the credit, but those 2 guys make or break it.
Perrin hustling to make the recovery. Wilson has the Saints right at midfield. Rogers pulling people almost to the 45. A 21-10 New Orleans lead. They have won only twice in 10 games against the St. Louis Football Cardinals.
The Cardinals are trying to make something happen on that last play. They had a maximum blitz on the safety. Perrin was sneaking up and had to make the tackle at the line of scrimmage. I'm sure he's trying to make up for that last play.
Remember that the snapper Clark is having to play right tackle too. 2nd down and 6. Wilson going to throw. Going for this tight end out there. And there's a flag on the play. Brenner makes the catch. Covered by
Lee Nelson.
Yeah, Lee Nelson was there. It looked like he might have interfered. He caught it anyway.
That was a good pass by Wilson.
Interference, defense, incline. First down.
Probably a good idea, Charlie, that he loosened up the defense with a pass at this time, huh?
Yeah, they're like we said on the play before, they were sneaking up. The Cardinals were sneaking up to the line of scrimmage. You see right there, 38, Lee Nelson. He was in good position, but he sort of stumbled before the ball got there and decided just to knock him down to keep Brenner from holding to a. Well, he wouldn't get a touchdown out of it.
Good replay by Andy Kendall, our director, showed the flag and all. Here's the drive series. Rogers, flags are down. Flags are down. Gets inside the St. Louis 30. George Rogers. Mark Duda there. Big scrapper from Maryland. Offensive illegal procedure. Quiet crowd because they anticipate that Bum Phillips has been telling them the truth. A pretty good team, balanced. In some areas, spectacular. You're looking at George Rogers.
Illegal formation, number 64, who was ineligible, was on the end of the line. Offense, still first down.
Other scores briefly. Atlanta by 3 now over Chicago. 31-24, Green Bay, and Houston's beginning to close it. Here it's 21-10 in the fourth. Duckett in motion. The draw play to George Rogers. Hit hard by Duda. The 270-pounder held George to not much. Other scores. Miami 12-0 now. Whitewash job for the Dolphins. They can play the 34 defense a little bit, can't they? Raiders 20-3 over Cincinnati. Sometimes the Raiders look like they're playing with 20 people. Jim Hannafin down by 11. But not out of it. A lot of time. Over 11 minutes left. Straight drive play. Gaijan to about the 35. Curtis Greer slapping him there. Rogers just had 2 tremendous touchdowns in, what, 2 minutes and 30 some odd seconds of that third period. One was one of the best runs we've seen in some time.
This is a big down. It'll be interesting. I don't think they'll throw a pass that will even take a chance of being intercepted. It'll be a high percentage pass.
Duckett. Kenny Duckett for a touchdown. Duckett, a tremendous post move, and then he cut it straight upfield, and Wilson hit him on the dead run.
He's got that big play potential. He said, we told you he scored 3 touchdowns in preseason on 4 catches.
Guido Merkins holding. Anderson's kick, strong and good.
We said before the play, didn't think that they would throw a high percentage. They throw a high percentage pass, either a completion or a deep one. Either go for a long bomb, catch it or not. Runs past the safety and behind Benny Perrin.
And Bum Phillips has about 5 or 6 receivers that look like that. Duckett for 6. Kenny Duckett, the Wake Forest product, 2nd year, 35-yard TD. He had been one of the largest touchdowns scored here. That's a 28-10 lead now in the 4th quarter. Anderson's kick is deep. Stump Mitchell at the 3. Out of bounds at the 27-yard line.
Kenny Duckett, as we said, has a great big play potential. I'm impressed with Dave Wilson tonight. It's a nice toss. Lays it up nicely and lets those receivers really like a lot of air under that ball and those deep passes so they can run under it.
Was that a blitz by the Cardinals then? Did they come with the off linebacker? I thought I saw Charlie Baker or somebody.
It was a single blitz, but it was in a single blitz, you have a safety back there to help. If it was a maximum blitz, then everybody'd be man-to-man. There'd be no help.
Well explained. 1st and 10 now. The Cardinals with 10 minutes left have got to get on the board. Hart to Anderson. To out of bounds. Johnny Pope closely guarding number 32. Is there a method to this madness that Stabler was hurt on his first pass play and now Wilson has done so well? Is this the quarterback of the future or the present?
It's got to help him. I know that last year the strike hurt Lomax and then he didn't get that chance to play. And last year Wilson was out with the knee and he didn't get a chance to play. And he's got to watch Stabler the way he handles himself in the huddle and all through training camp. But boy, he has really looked poised today.
Lomax left the game too with an injured shoulder, and we've seen Jim Hart the entire way in the second half. He's being rushed. Hart is going to be sacked and dropped at the 28-yard line. Ricky Jackson clamping on.
Tony Elliott involved in the 99. See if Jim Hart even has a chance to see anything. Just about the time he sets up, it closes up. Ricky Jackson involved in number 99, Tony Elliott. Tony Elliott, pretty free-spirited guy. He got fined. He got a check for preseason for $24. He had $2,000 worth of fines on him in training camp.
That's an expensive spirit. 3rd down and 9. Hart being chased out of the shotgun. Throws on the run. Is he out of bounds or inbounds? They're going to call it a catch as Roy Green played Fred Astaire.
Jim Hart showed some mobility on that play. Showed some mobility earlier when he ran the ball for a 1st down, but he has some time. Buys a little more by rolling out. Roy Green, number 81, tap dance right on the sideline, 2 feet in. That's an art, isn't it?
Bum Phillips' look of disgust was not really a complaint. He just knew it was a great play. Hart on the run. 8 for 14 for 100 and the 1 touchdown. 8:44 left. Stump Mitchell at tailback. Anderson has been on the sidelines with his bell rung a little bit. 1st down catch. Doug Marsh, number 80. Cardinals have not used the tight end a lot in the past. You think they're going to more this year with LaFleur and Marsh?
Well, they need to. I know that as a defensive back, you throw the ball to tight end and your coverage are going to collapse on that tight end. That opens it up to throw it to the outside. As we said earlier, they only caught 11 passes all last year as the tight end position did. I like what St. Louis is picking at them here. They're not trying to get it all at once. They're just getting 1st down after 1st down.
Trail by 18. Hard on 1st down. Toss to Stump Mitchell. Boy, Stump Mitchell wastes no time. Crawling for 9 yards. Kovacs making the stop there. Don't overlook how good this number 30 is. He replaced Anderson a year ago against Philadelphia, and he had 135 yards rushing, I believe, that day.
He's a fighter from the Citadel.
Jim Hart, now I'm told by Bill Friel, my spotter, needs 7 more tosses to have thrown the ball 5,000 times in this league. 7:25. You can see that clock working right there. Throw to Stump Mitchell. Oh, Mitchell is drilled by Dirt Winston and Tony Elliott. And he's down.
Both Terry Steve and Rodney Lewis, Terry Steve 68, St. Louis, and Rodney Lewis shaking up.
Some collision over there. Winston, Terry Steve, and Stump Mitchell and others just came together all at the same time. Steve, you can see, is,
I don't think he's with us.
and boy, he's a big one. 268, power lifter.
That's their strongest. That's where they feel the most strongest, right there in the line with Steve, Deardorff, and Boston. Two young tackles. Of course, Tootie Robbins not being able to play today because he was hurt, but two young tackles with St. Louis.
A first down was picked up. Stump stays in there. Steve is out, and Audick, used to be with San Diego and San Francisco, will be playing that left guardsman.
Little safety valve pass. They just done 29. Rodney Lewis and Steve just had a little collision over there on the sideline.
Like Steve didn't know he was getting ready to get hit right around the corner and wham. First and 10 call. Jim Hart. Inside handoff to Mitchell. You know who it is, don't you? The Dirt Man, and he's talking to Stump.
Can't say enough about Dirt Winston.
He'll fill the hole as it opens.
You see Bum Phillips' face light up when we started asking about Dirt Winston yesterday. 56 come from the left side of your screen, plugging the hole.
Some football player.
That's the way you coach him, isn't it?
Boy, Chuck Noll must have given up on this man, but I can't understand a Pittsburgh team not having somebody like that. It's 31-31. The Oilers have come from the other side of the great beyond to tie that one in the fourth. Here's Hart, back to throw, going to the outside. Roy Green catches and drops the ball. Let's see, no good. Poe with a tremendous effort right on the sidelines.
I couldn't tell whether Roy Green had possession of that ball or not.
Poe dislodged it pretty quickly as they approach the line, huh?
Jim Hart seems to be back on the money. Watch these two officials. One of them comes up and marks the spot. The one with the white hat at the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side of the screen, he comes up and marks the spot. And the other official, of course, we didn't see it there, but one of them marked it, said it was a completion. The other one overruled him and said he didn't have control of it.
Only 1 foot? Pretty close, eh? Hart on third down. Outside, Tilley. Oh, I don't know how he made the catch. What a catch. It went through the jersey of Watlett, and somehow 83 came up with it. It's going to be a first down if it's called a catch.
Looked like that ball was going to be intercepted by Frank Watlett. You're the defensive back. You can see what Jim Hart's looking at. He's looking somewhere else, and in the last minute decides to throw over to Tilley.
Some catch, some concentration by Tilley. 5:35, and the clock is not stopping. Hart being rushed, gets away from a rush, throws a strike, going to have a touchdown by Tilley. What a move by the veteran of 18 years. Jim Hart really stepped aside and threw one.
They're methodically picking away at him and had a good drive right there, just enough to get the first down on 4 or 5 different times. We mentioned earlier that St. Louis loves to run the crossing routes. Jim Hart drops back in the pocket. He's getting a little pressure from Elliott and avoids the rush. And that's Tilley has come all the way across the other side of the field. 83, Pat Tilley for a touchdown.
And that offensive line gave Hart enough time to where that long pattern was possible. 206 lifetime touchdown passes by Jim Hart. Parents hold. O'Donohue getting the extra point. And it's not over till it's over. It's 28-17 with 5.5 minutes left. Crowd's pretty quiet right now. 17. You can see the time left. What we can't tell you is what's going to happen. 2 or 3 of those field goals have gone through now. We would be in a squeaker. It still may be. O'Donohue now will kick off. Jimmy Rogers not expecting the kick to go deep. It looks like they're expecting an onside. Look at this. Looks like a Canadian League job. Here it is. It's a little shank that, oh, it just goes out of bounds. It had gone 10 yards. The flag is going to be there. It has to go 10 yards.
Kicked off out of bounds. Re-kick from the 30-yard line.
Okay, it'll be a 5-yard penalty, which won't hurt the situation. That was some little half wedge, a sand wedge he kicked over there.
What a great little trick. They took all the guys from one side of the field. See on the replay, on the right-hand side of the screen, about 5 or 6 of the 3 of the Cardinals will move all the way over to the left side of the field, and you think the ball is going to the left, and he kicks a high fly ball to the right side of the field.
Lionel Washington, I believe, was the young man, almost made the catch.
He tried to catch it before it hits the ground. He can't do that. He's got to give that man a chance to catch the ball. He is not allowed to touch it until the ball hits the receiver or hits the ground.
Well, you know the rules. I'm sure glad. But it looked like a heck of a play to me. That looked like something from the Calgary Stampeders against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Green Bay now on top of Houston with a touchdown, 38-31. Still a lot of time in that one. Wonder what happened to Bart Starr's defense. Detroit 11-0. Tampa Bay with still a quarterback problem, I would assume. Minnesota with a lead on Cleveland. That's getting closer by 6. Here's O'Donoghue from the 30 now. Oh, he kicks this one pretty deep. He gets a good foot on it. That's Jimmy Rogers. He's got to go, boy. Out of bounds. He'll be kicking from the 25.
He's had an interesting afternoon at best.
Look at it. Look at him. Using that soccer motion there to keep the ball alive. Don't forget next Sunday. Of course, we're just starting. It's going to be a nail-biter all year. Dallas against St. Louis. And the Saints against the Rams. 2 divisional clashes.
Old Bum says that he has a lot of respect for Robinson out there in L.A. He says, you know, you go out there, you build a team. You can take a team that doesn't have anything, or you can take a team that's got some talent. He says, heck, that guy's not like he doesn't have talent out there in L.A. Bum thinks a lot of what's going on out there. Thinks a lot of John Robinson.
How about that picture in Bum Phillips' office of Bear Bryant of Alabama on the sidelines, and 2 jerseys that happened to be in the picture were 303 and a 15, which made 315. And Bum says, you know, that happened to be the game when Bear Bryant got his 315th collegiate win. Here's that kickoff from the 25, taken by Wilson, by Rogers. Now there's a flag down. This one came late, so it might be tacked on.
Well, if they have to kick off again, I'll be willing to bet you that they'll put 11 fresh players in there. That'll be 4 kickoffs in a row.
Holding against the returning team.
So all the penalties don't really hurt the Cardinals right there. They lost a lot of field position by kicking it out of bounds and trying to get the onside kick.
Jorgensen will tell us.
Holding, number 19, receiving team, first down.
Guido Merkins, active Merkins. 20 penalties have already been charged in this game. Don't forget, following this ball game, the 4th round of the U.S. Open. I'm talking about tennis. McEnroe against Vince Van Patten.
I read where McEnroe is cleaning his act up. He doesn't want to be remembered as a bad boy.
Just rich. U.S. Open tennis following this ball game. 1st and 10. Wilson has gone almost all the way. It's Rogers trying to get to the 25.
I think you're going to see your basic Bum Phillips offense now. Bum Phillips' philosophy is the butt 'em in the mouth technique.
I'm sorry?
The
butt 'em in the mouth.
Butt 'em in the. He likes to put. They tells them to teach them to put their headgear right in the mouth of the defensive lineman, and that's his simple philosophy. It's won for him down there at Houston, and is winning here for him in St. Louis. What's the name of this team? New Orleans.
Atlanta 20, Chicago 17. That's a final. The Bears fall, and the Falcons go 1 up. Second down and 7. Rogers making a great cut. Close to a first down. What a shot. Great forward lean by George Rogers. Aaron's hanging on with Benny Perrin helping. .424. Clock is stopped as they look to see if it's enough for first down.
George Roberts, you see him visiting with Stan Brock right there, 67. He's a very personal guy. Everybody likes George, and they're really glad that he's took his punishment with the. There's a measurement for the first inning.
By a dimple.
He bought a gold chain for every one of his offensive linemen with their names.
This is a fourth game over 200 yards on 23 carries, 2 touchdowns. That's a career for some running backs. He's doing it in the opening game. Clock is running now. It's 4 minutes and counting. Straight drive. Rodgers back against the grain to the 36. Boy, he's making a cut at the line of scrimmage. That is very special. Miami's shutting down Buffalo. The Raiders 20-10 by 10 points over Cincinnati. And here it's a 28-17 game. It's 11 points. 2 touchdowns. Wilson using the clock now. No hurry. Rodgers with the flags flying gets to the 40-yard line. Wayne Wilson, pardon me, with the football.
Tom, you know, I think it's interesting to note that at the top of the show we said that the key to the St. Louis, New Orleans success throughout this year is to keep Stabler healthy. I don't think that's the case when we saw the way Wilson has controlled this team. And also, Bum Phillips mentioned about the depth that they have here at New Orleans.
For the first time.
For the first time. Yeah. And obviously they have depth at the quarterback position too, because Davis had a great game today.
Holding number 62. Offense, still second down.
Caught John Hill, a very steady, dependable offensive center. It's an awful thing to mention him for the first time when he's been called for holding, because he's a good player. The penalties, as you can see, are now 22. Second down and 14. Clock won't start until the snap. That's Wilson. Ooh, good hole he found. Allerman making the tackle at the 35. Just remember, if you get the ball back and get a quick touchdown, things can happen. Clock is moving. Pittsburgh losing to the Denver Broncos, or they are now in the 4th period. That is not a final score, but it's 14-10. Rams and the Giants 16-6. We don't know how late in the 4th period that game is. 10 minutes, I'm told, left in that Giant game. The Rams. 3rd down, quick draw play. Wilson's going to be trapped. The Saints are going to have to give up the football. And the 2-minute warning will probably stop, and the Cardinals will not have to blow one of their timeouts. Any big plays that stand out in your mind that perhaps the game swung on, Charlie Waters?
I think you mentioned it earlier that the 2 missed field goals would have kept this game a little more interesting.
It still might get interesting. It's been exciting. New Orleans 28, St. Louis 17. You jog? Hello. Erxlaven's first punt of the second half. Willard Harrell. Erxlaven will take his time unless they put pressure on him. 2:18 left. The Cardinals need 11 points. Almost got it. Pretty good punt, though. In fact, a good punt. Harrell at the 21. Out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 31. The Cardinals have one more timeout left. They'll have 9 seconds before a 2-minute warning, and that was a 45-yard punt. Next Sunday, the NFL Today starts us off. Then stories on Terry Bradshaw at the crossroads. The ace formation with Dan Henning, the new coach down there of the Falcons.
The ace formation, you hear a lot about all the multiple sets going on. On the NFL Today, you'll focus in and you'll learn about what the ace formation is. Nothing more than one back in the backfield, not two backs. You have 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and a single back.
Shotgun formation. Hart being hit and dropped. As Bruce Clark came on so fast, Hart never had a chance. Remember, Clark went to Canada and then came into this league. The 4th sack for the Saints.
They have 3 guys on the Saints from Canada. Goodlow, Clark.
Rams beating the Giants 16-6 at the Meadowlands. Minnesota beating Cleveland in Cleveland. 2 minutes and 11 points. It's 28-17. The Saints may win their opener. What a debut for George Rogers in 1983. You betcha. What a slimmed down version. Look at this. Green Bay, Houston, 38 all. Who scored that?
Moriarty.
Moriarty.
Fullback. He's his first year in the league, 25 years old. He's a tough kid. I think he's going to make the difference in the Houston team because they got 2 tough running backs now with Big Earl and Moriarty.
Boy, and they got it tied up. That must be some game. Wonder who's playing defense. Guys like you and me, I guess. The 2-minute warning has been sounded. Hart from shotgun now. The flags are down. May get a free one. Schumann has the ball go off his fingertips, and he's drilled at the 50. The flag went down early, so hang on. 6 seconds used. Boy, Schumann is wobbly.
Well, he got hit, but he could have been hit a lot worse.
Illegal motion, number 81. Offense, decline, 3rd down.
Roy Green in motion.
You watch 49, Frank Watlett coming to the screen. He gets a free lick on the side of his head.
How could he get hit any harder? You said he could have gotten hit harder.
I don't know.
Oh,
that was a good lick.
He's okay. Come on, Schumann's all right, but he was trying for that ball. Hart now under a lot of pressure. Across the middle. Tilley has it. He dropped it, and he gets hit. Watlett.
Frank Watlett again, 49. Whoa. Frank Watlett came into camp as a free agent. They took a physical, and they failed him on the physical. He says, look, I still want to play. Said, well, you can't. We're not going to pass you on the physical. Well, he signed a release, signed a waiver, and said, look, I'll take a chance, and if I get hurt, it won't be any problem to you. And he goes out and he makes a team. You can't ignore somebody like that. He doesn't weigh but 180 pounds.
He's knocked out 2 receivers on 2 plays. They're going to have to put sponge rubber on his elbows. Carl Birdsong. Growth is back at the 40. The Saints smell like they've got one. The fans are beginning to sort of build. Bourbon Street's torn up. They may be marching in it tonight. Long time coming. 1:49 on the clock. Fumbled by Birdsong. He gets it off. It's a good kick under the circumstances. Growth, fair catching at the 38. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New Orleans Saints and the National Football League is strictly prohibited. Detroit shutting out Tampa Bay. An overtime game. Sudden death or 15 minutes, and then they'll go another period. 38 all. It's a wild game. The Packers picked perhaps to win that division. Bart Starr thought he had a few people to help on defense this year and might be able to pull it off. We'll see. 1st and 10 now. The Saints want to just let the clock go. That's Gaijan. Amazing forward progress. Offensive line has done some job blocking, though, haven't they, for the Saints? That's a pretty solid group up there.
He teaches them. That's the way Bum Phillips likes to do things. He likes to keep it simple at first, and then after they establish something. This is the 3rd year he's been at the helm. He says, I'm going to open it up a little bit more, but we're still going to do the basic running plays, the butt him in the mouth technique, and let the back run to open. You see even Gaijan right there was cutting back against the grain and letting the linemen push him after they make their initial hit.
2nd down 6. Wilson replaced Stabler on the first series. After the first series, 45-yard line. Wilson. Sort of like it up here in the booth, do you, Charlie Waters?
It's a lot of fun, Tom.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
You're going to be awfully good, my friend. Next Sunday, don't forget, the NFL Today kicks it off. Then Dallas goes against St. Louis, and the Saints go out to Anaheim, California. You hear that crowd? It is happening here. People beginning to go out now. What I meant when I said Bourbon Street was torn up, I mean it's under construction. They're getting ready for the World's Fair. This type action is always rugged when it gets nasty. 10 seconds. Cardinals are going to be 0-1. And the Saints finally have whipped this team on opening day.
You've seen people leave the Superdome early before, but I bet they left
for different reasons,
than having a victory with 8 seconds to go.
They're not going to sell many of those sacks to put over heads this year. I have a feeling that they'll ship those to some other city, I guess. These people deserve it. 17 years, 8 coaches. And the 8th one looks like he's got himself a program. And I've got to say that John Meekum Jr. has really allowed the general manager and Coach Bum Phillips and Pat Pepper and everybody to sort of set the program going and let it become stable. And they've got a good one going here. Jim Hannaford in a tough division, too. Jim's Cardinals are in that division with Giants, the Redskins, the Eagles.
He seems to think that there'd be a little...
Dallas, too. I forgot that.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Tom. That there'd be some carryover from them getting in the playoffs last year, and that strike interrupted season.
How injured is Lomax's shoulder? That's going to be a thing. Jimmy Hart came on and did a very good job in the second half. Cardinals only have one player back. Erxleben kicks it away from Harrell. Harrell takes it, spins, gets out of bounds. That's the ball game. By 11 points. Two classy people. Bum Phillips, the winner, and Jimmy Hannaford, the loser, at least for this day. Good people. 28-17, New Orleans Saints win.